And now you're snitching on yourself. But all right, before Mike further incriminates himself, Tony PT Dog, how you feeling, my guy?
Doing great, man. Here in a very cloudy Los Angeles. It's cold. I almost got into it with an older lady because she was cracked out and she's just like in my face. I'm like, yeah, no, I need you to not do that or I'm going to show you the true meaning of equality. Like, back the fuck up.
On God. Well, Tony, you call it cloudy. I call it creamy. You get it. You know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
We got a packed show for you, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I want to get right into it because I want to do a little bit of slandering. Um, did you guys know, no exaggeration, that the Make-A-Wish program lets you be a football coach? Swear to God. Swear to God. Did you know
Ooh,
that? Yeah.
no.
This dumb son of a bitch, right? He's not fat, so I can't call him fat. So I'll call him dumb. Got deep in his feelings because Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, does interviews in a hat and sunglasses, right? He thought that was, oh man, I was raised managed. Well, you should have been raised playing football because I saw this man's overall record in Zoink Scoob, Rutro Raggy, Jinkies Velma. Man's got to quit. All right. Um, Michael,
Yes,
Buddy
sir.
decided to talk some smack, and they're playing at 10 o'clock, I think it is, Eastern Time.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Pretty soon.
About 15
Um,
minutes.
Yep, but he's about to get smacked and then fired for opening his mouth. He about to be Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
Prime in his response put up a video on Instagram, and it's him giving everybody on his team glasses.
Yep.
What a legend, bro! Talk to me. How you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, I have $100 in my bank account today, and $100 just went on DraftKings at prime time wins this game. So the payout's only $1, but I'm willing to risk it just to make a point, and that's really how I feel. I said, there's no way Deion loses this game. There's no way his son loses this game. There's no shot. And for the statement, it's about the whitest thing I've ever heard in my life coming from a white man. It really was just that negative energy that, growing up in the city, I've heard my whole life. You get that a lot, though. The city kids will come, we'll play, especially in baseball. I've talked to Pride about it before. Like, growing up in the city, you go play kids in the suburbs or other counties in Illinois, and Chicago is coming into town, so people treat you different. And we carry ourselves a certain way because we grew up a certain way. And Deion, who, by the way, mind you, consistency is everything, and I believe that. And it's so important that it's not just sunglasses and a hat on with the media; it's with everybody. That's just Deion. You know what I mean? Like,
Thank you.
It's not like he goes home and he's just, a totally different version of him. There's no disrespect by it. It's not like he has a hoodie up and he's flashing gang signs. This is a guy who this is his attire. This is how he dresses, and deal with it. You know what I mean? And it's definitely, it's funny to me because every single coach in baseball wears a hat. Every manager in baseball wears a hat, pregame, postgame, all the time. And that's something that just gets overlooked because you only want to talk about it when it's relevant to you. You don't want to talk about the full picture. So it was wild to me. It was a wild statement. And I know Tony's going to touch on this point, so I'll let him talk about it more. But, not adding fuel to the fire, I feel like is something that's very important in games like this. You don't want to give anybody that extra chip on their shoulder, that extra energy. And he just fed right into Deion's hand.
Dog. Let me ask you
Yeah,
something.
100%. Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
100%.
My bad. Go ahead. No, I'll shut the fuck up. My bad. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad, Brad. I didn't know you was going. That's my bad.
No, it's cool.
Yeah. Yep.
I got it.
So I do want to say first things first. I have seen a couple memes here of lately that has Deion Sanders with also a giant white hat looking like Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dinsdale Dimmadome. Deion Sanders is about to be the owner of Colorado, the entire state. But no, like Mike said, I mean, you really don't want to ever add fuel to the fire in an in-state rivalry that you've been absolute dog water at for years. Like, even with Colorado losing last year, I think the one win they had was against Colorado State, more than likely. Or even then, they've beaten them several times extremely badly. Like, Colorado State cannot even remotely perform or keep up with Colorado as a whole. And plus, my other thing is, as a grown man, as head coach Jay Norville, Like, at what point does it hurt you that Dion wears a hat and sunglasses whenever he talks to people? Like you in Colorado. This is not the South. Like, you ain't walking into a room like, oh, sorry, let me take my hat off. Let me take my sunglasses off here so I can talk to you. It's sports interviews. Like, literally, no one cares what you wear. Like, literally, no one cares. Like, not to throw shade at Cam Newton, but I've seen Cam Newton wear a lot of crazy stuff. Like, Cam, what you doing? Like, yes, people are going to poke at it if they don't have anything else to poke at. And I feel that's how Colorado State is. You are so irrelevant in the Mountain West Conference. You are so irrelevant in your own rivalry that you need to make up something to be able to put yourself in the limelight. And why you would ever say, you know what, I'm going to go, smack talk in the mouth, Coach Prime, the owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. I'm going to smack him in the mouth by saying, you know what, you need to take your hat and sunglasses off. Because that's how my mama raised me, okay? Well, your soon-to-be daddy Dion is about to teach you why you sometimes need to just shut the fuck up and color. But hey, that's just me, though. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just real simple, bro. Like, I kind of been noticing a common theme that's been happening. Even if we're gonna be honest, started last year, even when Coach Dion was with the HBCU at Jackson State. I'm noticing an interesting trend. They disrespect Coach Dion for any little thing. They disrespect him for any little thing to attempt to get almost 15 minutes of fame. The problem is that there's nothing you can really say to disrespect and undermine the Coach Dion Sanders. Like, the man is arguably one of the greatest players of all time, right?
That.
Is that what?
I said I heard that.
I mean, like think about it. Like, in terms of coaching, he's been coaching for a while, even before he went to Jackson State. He went to Jackson State, and not only did he completely turn everything around, the money out of his pocket, he helped build a facility, and he left them a blueprint for them to continue on to carry on success.
Right, and they probably won't, but at least he helped.
Exactly. Well, listen, we'll have that conversation at the end of the year,
100%,
and see what they do. But if they fail, you cannot say it's Coach. You cannot say it's Coach Dion's fault, because he gave them the blueprint and said, "This is all you got to do to figure it out."
Yep.
Right.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
And for some unknown reason, this dude who picks his nose, still smells his butt, right? Who I've never in my wildest dreams have ever looked at anything this man has ever done and been like, huh, that's something.
I had to redo a video I did on the ASAP network. I had to delete it because I accidentally called him Matt instead of Jay. I didn't even know who this dude was. I'm going to be completely honest. And I was like, oh, well, does it really matter that I fucked up his first name?
No, but you're right. It doesn't, because the reality of the situation is there's so many teams. You're not gonna pay attention to a team that loses consistently to the Air Force.
Yep.
You're not gonna pay attention to the team who in the last year I think only had one win, and that was over, I think, Wyoming. I think it was. I'm not gonna pay attention to a guy who, outside of a couple rare things, gets destroyed, gets assassinated. I'm talking about Buddy's losing 52-21.
He's about to too.
42-23. What am I supposed to do with this? Letting teams drop 40, 50 on them easy. What am I supposed to do with this? Let Arkansas, who at the time, Arkansas was, they still are, trash.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Arkansas is straight up trash. And he let them mop the floor with him. What am I supposed to do with this Make-A-Wish ass dude? What am I supposed to do with him?
I mean, man, I think it's just one of those conversations, though, where, again, it's going to turn into media, and it's going to turn into what he said. And I think, to play devil's advocate, why this is beneficial for Colorado State is because if by some miracle they win this game, everybody in the nation is going to be talking about Jay by tomorrow. And I think that's really the conversation. Now, when you have no career and you have nothing going for you and you aren't going to be in the spotlight, it's very hard to get to the top. Now, if somehow you can beat a big figure, if you can beat a big name, we talk about this all the time when it comes to college football rankings and the power rankings. You have to beat a big time school in order to get any recognition by the NFL, by the league, by fans, by everybody. And to that point, understanding that, Tony and I talked about that last year. When was Tennessee going to start getting respect? Right now they're getting fucked by the Swamp and the Gators. But last season, you really didn't take them seriously until they beat Alabama. And that was something to where in this conversation, as a head coach, to Pride's point, you got people calling him a make-a-wish guy because, what is he? What has he done? How has he been beneficial? And if somehow, some way he can talk and walk at the same time, maybe pat his belly and rub his stomach and have that conversation and say, hey, listen, I just beat primetime. Then we're going to look at it a little differently. And we're still going to look at him as a jackass, but I think other people are going to paint a narrative that he's actually a good coach. So I see what he's doing. It's
Right.
a lot easier to bring somebody up down than it is to bring somebody down up. And he's trying to pull Dion down right now and try to climb to the top. I always call it, you ever see crabs try to get out of the barrel or get out of the bucket? Yep. It's literally the same thing. He's trying to get out of there. He's trying to get out of there and make a name for himself. So I get it, but you picked the wrong one. I would have rather you went after Nick Saban and Alabama right now than go after Dion because at least Alabama's quarterback situation looks like shit. Dion knows exactly what he's doing right now.
Yep. I will say this though, and Tony, I want to try to get the positive side here.
Hell no.
I feel like any other coach would have probably slandered the mess out of this irrelevant fuck.
I don't think so.
I think so because we've seen other head coaches call each other out, and Nick Saban, I think it was like last year or 2 years ago. Who is it that Nick Saban literally verbally assaulted to the point where people thought his career was in jeopardy?
You ever notice though with what you're saying, like really quick, just to play that advocate? Normally they're calling out other respected coaches. Like no one's going to pay this guy any mind. You know what I mean? Like
you're right.
This is a single A head coach talking to a manager of the Boston Red Sox or the New York Yankees. Like this is not, bro. I am light years ahead of you. You know what I mean?
So you're looking at it. You're looking at it from the perspective of, yeah, he'll say something, but you'll have guys like Nick Saban, Kirby Smart who'll look at this dude and just laugh.
Let me make it make sense. This is the Sports Empire Network trying to talk to me. Sorry.
Yeah. But no, to my point too, to me, Mike is right. If you look at some of these other coaches, if you look at Dion, you look at Nick Saban, you look at Kirby Smart, you want to know what most of these coaches are going to do? They're going to be like, okay, they're going to shrug it off, or they're going to let their actions speak on the field. Like, okay, go ahead and crap talk me. Well, we dropped 63 on you. I won't hear no crying about having no damn hat or sunglasses on. Because to me, that's exactly what Nick Saban would do. It's exactly what Dion will probably do when they drop. I'm going to say they drop 45 at minimum, 45 on Colorado State. And then Jay Norville is going to be like, man, that's a hell of a team that we just faced. They're good. And it's like, yeah, you probably could have avoided a less severe beatdown had you not been talking smack, because you also have to look at it from a player's perspective, especially with, his two sons and, even Travis Hunter. All of those guys are very loyal to Dion because of the fact that he's got them in this situation, the fact that he's giving them chances and opportunities that, all honesty, they may or may not have had at other universities and other places to play at. So for them, it's like, oh no, you want to smack talk our head coach? Okay, we'll fix that. Don't even worry about it. We'll fix that.
And just letting you know, this happened roughly about an hour ago. There was kind of a little bit like to your point, Cody. You're talking about the loyalty. Things were already getting heated up. And guess who was leading the fray? His three sons. Which Travis Hunter is his son.
Oh, yeah.
At this point, let's just call him his son. Because Travis Hunter is as close to his son as you can get to Dion without being blood.
That's true.
But the three of them were front line, and they were talking some talk. And it kind of did get a little chippy. Granted, obviously, no punches were thrown or anything like that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it just goes back to the loyalty thing that you were talking about. Like, yo, and also to remember, a lot of these guys who are there, sure, they weren't there as long as, well, with Coach Dion as obviously his two sons and Travis Hunter. They came from Jackson State with him. And some of those dudes is like, yo, he came here, and in terms of my professional life, at the very least, my professional life has done a complete 180.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like they also have that loyalty to him. Colorado, right? Like the bubble, they're looking at it like, yo, we saw what he did over there. We are 2-0 ever since he came. We only played 2 games, and we already doubled the amount of wins we had last year.
Yep.
Like, they were already bought in. Mind you, they were bought in before the first game of the year, right? Like they were bought in before they fought. They played against TCU.
Oh yeah, and not only that, plus now you look at it, coming into 3 games in, look at the viewership that everybody, because like let's be honest, prior to Deion Sanders, how many of us was going to be like, man, I can't wait to watch Colorado football?
Can I
honestly, I not Colorado. I would have been excited like had they played Bama or if they played LSU. If they played like a power like one of those big teams, that I would look and go, oh my god, this is the team that they could do. They could score 70, 80. That's the only time I really thought you would have been excited to see Colorado. To be honest,
I do want to ask a question though, boys. Do you have the TV on right now? Either of you?
No, sir.
So the game is on ESPN. It's supposed to be on at 9:00.
Yes, sir.
Central Time, and it's 8:58, and there's 8.5 minutes left of the Tennessee Gators game. It's still on. Are they going to make me watch the end of this game and then turn on primetime, or are they just going to cut this at 9?
No, they're gonna have you watch it, and then they'll whatever that other game is. That's what they'll do.
But I don't.
Say,
but why?
Say that, or they might have it playing on like ESPN2 in the meantime.
No, I don't think if they do that worst case scenario, they'll probably kick the Gator Tennessee game to ESPN2 and then put the primetime, because maybe I'm wrong, but I've never seen them move a primetime game to finish up the game that they've had. I've seen them go, hey, if you want to catch the rest of this game, head over onto this channel, and then here we're gonna go on our regular thing or whatever.
ESPN2 is Arkansas and BYU. God, I just want to watch primetime, bro. What are we doing?
Oh yeah, like I said, if anything, I think they'll move this one over to ESPN2. But yeah,
you got to, because I'm not trying to watch this.
But you never know too, because they may look at it and say, man, the number 11 team in the nation is losing to Florida, who got the dog shit kicked out of them by Utah.
So I'm watching 2 trash teams and missing the top game of the night.
Yep.
Basically, deal with it.
I'll just sit here and cry. It's all
right. So before we move on to the next topic, before we do that, I'm on Twitter. Mm-hmm. I don't know if y'all remember. Y'all remember back when Max Kellerman was on First Take?
I miss Max.
Listen, some of the stuff he said was crazy. Some of it was crazy.
I feel like it was scripted. A lot of it was scripted.
No, I don't think it was. Listen, I've listened to Max Kellerman.
You think he genuinely meant some of that shit?
I think a lot of the stuff he meant, he genuinely meant it.
What do you think about the Iguodala take?
I 100% think he meant it. Listen, and I've been watching Max Kellerman since before when he had the talk show, like back then, and obviously I really got deep into him. When he did the whole boxing thing. One thing about Max, and I imagine, so I was rocking with Max Kellerman before he became more mainstream and became on First Take. The stuff he says, man means it. He don't care if other people think he's stupid. He doesn't care if other people think he's wrong. He means it. Now, the difference between him and a lot of other people that say that is 2 things. First, he is willing to change his mind if the evidence presents itself. And 2, when he says the stuff he's saying, sure, it sounds wild, but if you listen to his logic, you'll still disagree, but you'll be like, okay, I sort of understand how you got to that conclusion. I disagree with you, but after taking this walk with you, you're not as crazy as I initially thought. Like, his thing was, for Iguodala, his logic was, Iguodala is still cold-blooded, like he's still clutch himself, and there's so much defensive attention on Steph Curry that he's more likely to get a much open, cleaner, more efficient shot. Which, using that logic, I understand why he said it. Now, I disagree, and I'm still giving it to Curry or Clay or whatever, you know what I mean? I would try to give it to them, to one of those two. But the logic he was using, I was like, you know what? I'll disagree, but I understand. I see the breadcrumbs that led you to the loaf of bread.
I feel like
It's moldy and it's stale, but it's still a loaf of bread you led me to.
Sometimes there's logics that just don't make sense, though. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes there's logic to where you're like putting so much money into something, and
Right.
you know, you're looking at the views throughout the next couple of months on every single video, and
Oh, I see where this is going. Tokyo talk. Go ahead.
there's
Go
a
ahead.
lot less fireballs in every single comment, and there's a lot less engagement. And I don't know, bro. I'm just kind of like, you know, sometimes in life, like, things get a little sticky and things aren't always what you think they are. And I think at the end of the day, you know, you're putting in a lot more work than somebody that's making a lot more money doing it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm looking at some things right now, and I'm the only one supporting it at this very moment. And it's kind of like, you're kind of paid to, you know, shoot me some fireballs, and I don't see any. So I don't know. I just think sometimes it's all cracked up to what it's supposed to be. And sometimes things get, you know, lost in the sauce on the way down, and pockets get empty because of it. But, you know, that's just me at the end of the day.
Yeah. 110%.
Do your job.
I mean, you know, it is what it is. But to get back to this, because I'll be honest with you, y'all, like, this is crazy because so y'all remember how he used Mac Tellerman used to be on first take, right? So somebody had put up on Twitter. I don't know if y'all remember, but they were talking about Colin Kaepernick. This was I think a couple years ago when Colin Kaepernick had released a workout that he held on a Saturday. And it was about an hour. It's like a little under an hour. And in the conversation, it was Stephen A. Smith. Terrell Owens was joining them via satellite, I would assume. And then Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman was saying some stuff. And yo, I was with it. I was clapping. I'm like, yo, Max, I'm with you. You one of us. Like he's one of us. He invited to the cookout. You don't bring nothing, but you invited to the cookout. Chop it up with us. You sit down, you eat. We chilling. Bring your wife, bring the kids, bring everybody, right? He said something, and then T.O.'s line says, Stephen A., Max sounds blacker than you are. And I don't know if y'all seen that clip, but Stephen A. got offended. He got real deep in his feelings, right? And someone showed that and said, this is why Stephen A. doesn't mess with Max Kellerman, right? Because the running sentiment, especially on Twitter, was that at this time, this was when Stephen A. was at the peak of his coonery. Where...
Huh?
Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. He was at the peak of his coonery.
Can we say...
He was Uncle Ruckus.
Can we say
He was
that?
shucking and jiving. That, like, a lot of people genuinely believe that he was shucking and jiving.
Okay.
Damn.
Can we say
Damn.
that? Is that allowed?
Damn. See, now that comment right there was personal. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But matter of fact, can I play it? I'm gonna play it because I feel like I should be able to. I hope you guys will be able to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only thing. I hope you guys can actually hear it, because if you can't, it'll be kind of dumb. You know what I mean?
Not dumber than watching Florida versus Tennessee with 3 minutes left when Dion.
100% no. 100% no. All right, let me know if y'all hear it.
I don't believe so, sir.
No? Okay.
Click on mute. Click on mute.
It's unmuted, baby boy. It's unmuted, baby boy. It's maxed out.
I'm only saying that because I do that shit all the time.
It's maxed out, baby boy.
Yeah, no.
Is that the YouTube link, Mike or Tony?
Tony just
No, that's a response to one of Mike's comments that he put on there.
Oh yeah, he's Mike needs to be stopped. But matter of fact, I will just give me a few minutes and I will actually matter of fact, y'all got Twitter, right?
Yep.
You mean X? Yes, I do.
You mean X?
Okay, I'm actually okay. Y'all got Twitter, right?
Yeah, I do. I have Twitter.
Fuck out of
Yes.
here. Yeah, I got Twitter, right? Okay, I'm gonna send y'all it because it's crazy what he said. It really is crazy, and a lot of people genuinely believe. I just said to you guys, a lot of people genuinely believe that was the beginning of the end, so to speak, of Stephen A. Smith, of his relationship with Max Kellerman. So basically, while you guys look at it, I'll just say it for everybody else that's listening. Long story short, it was about Colin Kaepernick. Stephen A. Smith was against Colin Kaepernick returning. Max Kellerman was like, hey, give him a try. See what happens. That was kind of the overall vibe. T.O. was agreeing with Max, like, yo, these workouts that they're holding, they're not really workouts. They're just trying to shut him up, so to speak, in terms of Colin Kaepernick. And then T.O. spat out the infamous line, Max sounds blacker than you are. And Stephen A. Smith got upset, right? Now, this is just the groundwork, by the way. This is just the groundwork. Because boy, oh boy, Twitter's popping. Because this random person, let me just say this one more time. This random person, right, tweeted that clip. T.O. replied to it and said facts, right? Then Stephen A. Smith replied to it and said, quote, or maybe I'll just dedicate the entire Stephen A. Smith show / podcast on YouTube this Monday to all the things you try to do behind the scenes to brothers over the years while claiming someone is more of a brother than others. Let me think about that, or let you think about that over the next 24 hours. He then replied, behind what scenes? Again, man, I'm not worried because I stand on my character and who I am. You better come with some facts and not this hearsay and anonymous sources because that's not going to fly. Kyrie Irving decided to get involved. And when he got involved, I said, whoa, brother. I said, oh, brother. Right? Here's the funny part. This is what Kyrie Irving said. And Lord, oh, Lord. Can y'all just call each other and act like grown, mature men and clear the air out without all the extra of social media? Get what you need off your chest and move on. This bitch ass motherfucker. And what's his on? And then there's another tweet from Stephen A. He said, now as for this dude, and he's referring to T.O., that is an entirely different conversation. And the conversation you're referring to is the fact that, they referring specifically to the whole Max Kellerman and Stephen A thing. He says, you know how I would feel about your sorry ass, T.O., and you know why. You should thank your heavenly father having zeroed in on you with the trifling shit you try to pull. Tell folks at ESPN what your desperate ass tried to pull. Keep on talking. Eventually, you'll expose yourself. So can someone fill me in? When did they have beef?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Like, am I missing something?
I must have missed it.
I want to be sure because I was on Twitter, right? I was on Twitter because I think I told you guys before. Damn, there's more. Holy shit. Damn. Damn. Oh, for sure. I'm watching that. I'm watching Stephen A. show on
He's got a really good show when it's just him one-on-one.
Yeah.
Talks about a lot of things.
Him and Shannon Sharp actually had a really good episode the other day of Club Shay Shay.
Mm-hmm.
Everything Shannon Sharp is a part of is amazing. Everything Shannon Sharp part is amazing. It's everything. It's perfection. It's amazing. It's phenomenal. Sensational. There's nothing he does wrong. Okay, so James Harden, I just saw on Twitter, James Harden landed and started hugging Daryl Morey. But he just called him a liar. Holy shit, man. Yo, consistency, yo. I mean, you pay me up $1 million, I won't be consistent either.
Heard that.
I just wanted to talk to that. By the way, Ohtani cleared out his locker. And then after being quiet about it, supposedly, to save face, this is what the organization decided to say. Ohtani had an MRI yesterday, and it showed he had some irritation in his oblique, and he needed to shut it down. He packed up his locker because he's going to have a procedure in his elbow soon. He will be with the team on the final homestand of the season.
I mean, will he though? Like they already put
No,
the eviction
fuck no.
notice on his door. Like
No, he's not. He's not going. And this is. I don't know who's dumber right now. The Washington Nationals with how they handled the Steven Strasburg situation, or how the Angels have handled Shohei Ohtani the entirety of his MLB career. I don't know who's worse. I don't know who's dumber. I don't know who's lazier. I don't know who's just the worst. I genuinely don't. Because here's my thing. If it cleared out his locker because of the injury, why are you waiting for a couple days to say anything? That's just the question I have. Usually, you go, all right, because for example, he's when they said what was it? Was that the same oblique or was it something else? No, I think it was the oblique that they shut down his pitching, but they expected him to still be a DH.
Yeah.
So they were ahead on that.
Ohtani's been checked out for ever since the Lucas Giolito trade, in my opinion. Ever since you traded 2 of your top 3 prospects for Lucas Giolito and then released Lucas Giolito a month later.
And let's be honest, the same prospect, and Mike, we had a conversation. It's not like their farm system is good. Their top 2 prospects are like, what, 73rd? I think the best one was like 73rd.
They wouldn't even crack the Cubs top 20 right now.
Respectfully. Let's be honest here. Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Respectfully. But I will say this. I will say this, man. Like, this situation, it's extremely weird to me. Because like I said, man, like, I don't know, man. It's just, he did everything he could. I'll be honest with you. He tried to do what he was trying. He tried to do everything he could. He really did. And for some reason, the vibe always was that he was by himself. You know what I mean? Like, it was all. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, think about it. I was trying to say Aaron Judge, but Mike Trout is always hurt.
Same thing.
True, same thing. It's literally the same thing. Just one is on the East Coast, one is on the West Coast.
Literally.
And the other guy who was supposed to be, he was supposed to be a big piece of this 3-headed monster.
Instead, he just argues with fans.
Anthony Rendon is just a fan at this point.
Worse.
But he get paid to have. You said what?
He argues with fans. Even worse. Bro got suspended for calling a fan a bitch or some crazy shit. Like what?
I mean, he was. I mean, I would call.
He wasn't wrong, but like, bro, like really, bro, like you make millions of dollars. You think? Remember that Dion conversation we had earlier, Pride? My boy, you paid to see me. You think I'm giving you time, bro?
I am. I'm paid though.
He's Kadarius Toney. He just talks shit, but he can't handle it.
100%.
No, it's different because at least Kadarius Toney can be on the field. That's the difference.
I mean, he can be on the field. He ain't doing shit, but he can be on the field.
Hold on. Let's not pretend week 1 was what Kadarius Toney's been doing his entirety of his tenure over with the Chiefs. Because remember, he was there last year, and he was a big part of them winning the Super Bowl. Had some very clutch catches in their entire playoff run. So
I don't remember one.
Week 1 was horrible. Oh, it was terrible. Week 1 was terrible. But the reason why I'm bringing this up, the memes have done it.
It's the meme of him smiling for me, bro. That one's terrible.
It's that honestly is hilarious. Where it's like.
Can I ask a question really quick? I'm gonna cut to I'm gonna get a Mike Hughes segment in here because we haven't had one in a while. Who wins in a fight? A gunfight. I'm talking. We're in the street. Just 2 Glocks, 1 clip.
Okay.
Over with. No cops. No pedestrians. Nobody.
Okay.
Kadarius Toney or George Pickens?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with the third option and say Plaxico Burress.
I'm gonna say my third option, Aaron Hernandez.
Oh,
I mean, well, here's the thing. I will say this. I also pick C, but
Sure.
no one can stop Henry Ruggs going 175.
Oh, you're right. No, Jordan Addison goes 180.
bro, I will get Ray
Yeah,
Rice
but it's
to
not
beat.
the same impact.
It's
It
not
is
Okay.
not the same impact, brother. It is not the same impact. I will say that to my dying breath. It ain't the
Oh,
same
really?
impact.
Literally,
Look.
you're dying.
Oh
breath.
my god.
Y'all need to put some respect on Ray Rice, or he's gonna come in the elevator and smack the shit out of both of you.
Oh man, but nah, bro. Well, hold on. If we are in an elevator, though,
Don't get me like Ray Lewis.
golly, bro. See, this
Hey,
is why I
don't make
can't
me.
be. That's why I
Don't,
can't be doing stuff.
Pride, if you're not careful, you're gonna get a happy ending from Deshaun Watson. It's not gonna
Pass
be
me
happy.
the OJ.
Okay, I mean, I'm happy. The hell, you saying that's a bad thing for me? We both be happy.
Fine. I'm gonna have Big Ben come talk to you in a club.
All right, come holler at me. Come holler at me. Come holler at me. Let me stop before I start saying
Just
stuff.
make sure you're not one of Zach Wilson's mom's friends.
Ooh, you're gonna get MILF hunted.
Oh Lord. But yeah, nah, bro. Honestly, for me, it's like I'm on Twitter, bro, and everyone is saying how Otani's leaving, which kind of poses the question I have for you guys. Obviously, he's not going back to the Angels. I think that's officially out of the question. I do think that he'll probably end up staying or going to the National League because of the universal DH rule or whatever. But here's the question I pose to you guys. Do you genuinely believe that he'll stay in the MLB? Because I think him going back to Japan, I think that's a legitimate conversation at the bare minimum.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think looking at his culture and understanding what he's grown up to be and who he's supposed to be and their definition, especially in Japan, of success. I mean, no disrespect by that. You know, it's full. They try to be the best versions of themselves on every level. I think for myself personally, the way Shohei has shown himself and how deeply he cares about winning and trying to be the best in every industry, he's done that already in Japan. And I think if he were to leave now, it's viewed as a failure, even after the accolades, even after the MVPs. I think not even getting to the playoffs, I think is a failure in the eyes of him and so many others. So I definitely don't think that's in the conversation right now, just because of how hard he's been advocating about. I need to be a winner. I came here to win.
So let me. First of all, Tony, do you agree with him? What Mike was saying?
Pride, you know I don't know shit about baseball, right?
You got the juice, bro. You got the juice. My fault. I forgot who I was talking to. Mike, let me ask you a question.
Uh-huh.
And then after this, I promise we'll move on, Tony. But here's my question: if he had just one ring, if somehow he won a ring with the Angels, or let's say they traded him and he went to Boston or New York or Houston or any team, right?
Mm.
And let's say he had won a ring. Do you think that one ring, in his mind, it's enough to call him a winner, so he goes back to Japan? Or do you think he's not going back until it's like 2-3 rings?
Is he making the same, like in this hypothetical, is he making the same amount of money he'd make here?
Oh, for sure he would have to. For
Okay,
sure
so
he would have to.
if the contracts are equal and the contracts are the same, I think I think it's a reasonable conversation. I mean, the reason he left Japan was, one, financially, and two, because he was bored. I mean, that's like, you just want to be able to say, hey, I could go to the MLB, I could do this now. You know what I mean? It's like, respectfully, it's like XFL to NFL. If you go back to the NFL, it's like, okay, cool, did this, won an MVP.
Well, that's kind of messed up, but okay, I got it.
Hey, man, I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But
and I do want to say one thing real quick.
Go ahead. What's yours?
Shohei Ohtani to the Cubs, and Cubs by 50.
Yup.
Nah, bro, he's coming. He's coming to. I'll say this, and it's not just because I'm a Boston fan. I believe we genuinely have a shot at getting him because there was someone within the organization that he rocks with, and which I like this one. You said what?
A Japanese kid.
No. Well, he's the second one. He's the second dude that we got who's gonna be Rookie of the Year.
Hmm? Oh, dude, he's a stud.
Oh no, and if it's not him, it's got to be Buddy from Baltimore. I think the only reason they'll give it to him is because because of their
They're
record,
winning.
right?
Yeah, Gunner.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I
Gunner's a
get
dog.
it, but yeah. But I 110%, bro. Like it was that, but I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. Let's get Tony back in here because T-Dog.
Oh wait, really quick though, Pride. I do want to say
Oh, sure,
last
go ahead.
comment on Shohei.
Go ahead.
Shohei to Baltimore. I've confirmed in my mind that he's going to Baltimore.
Listen. I'll tell you this right now, man.
I think they overpay.
You think they overpay for Ohtani?
I think they
Ooh.
overpay. I mean, like
You
there's a
know who you know who I think actually honestly does it? Like, oh boy, Alec Moana. After he was just straight dog water, the Toronto sent him down. Oh, buddy, stopped showing up. Oh, buddy, literally stopped showing up.
Bro, talk too much. That was the problem.
But it's not even talking. You're trash. You're trash. You're trash. I should be able to look at you and call you trash if you're trash. But
So-
going out there for 3 innings and his pitch count is out there like he's been there for 7+ innings. Man is giving up home runs to contact hitters consistently. You're trash. Get off your high horse, you bum. Yo, they set him down, brought him back up. Man was still trash and got in his feelings, so they said so.
Just
I
so
want
you're
to
aware,
punch this motherfucker in the face.
Colorado State and Colorado has started on ESPN News, and already in the first 2 plays, there's been a flag by Colorado's defense and Colorado State's offense. 2
Love to
flags
see
back
it.
to back. It's
Love
first and
to
20.
see
It's
it.
1st and 27 for the Rams.
There's 9 seconds left.
Yeah.
This SOB, this fat orange fuck, this plum, all of the Tennessee Volunteers just ran into the tunnel, and they called them all back because this fat fuck calls timeout down over 10 points with 9 seconds left. What are we doing, bro? Now they all have to run, and now they're gonna fight, and now they're fighting. Why are they fighting? Holy shit, they're squabbling! Oh my god!
Yo, Mike is winning now. He came back. But
They're
he's like, oh, hello.
Prime time. Here we go. Let's go. Oh my god. This is
Oh,
prime
Lord.
time. I just saw the swamp, baby. Oh my god. If you guys were watching,
But,
what I'm watching right now, it's not
oh,
over.
Lord.
It's not over. They're still
So settle, get off your high horse. Get off your high horse.
horse.
All right, but oh Lord, y'all killing me.
What the
Let me do this right quick.
fuck?
There it goes.
Prime time.
All right, so here's a question I have for you, Tony. Let me start with you because obviously I kept running the back with her for a little bit. For the longest time, they kept saying that they were going to extend Justin Jefferson. They moved on from Adam Thielen to make sure that not only they can give him the contract he wants, but to give him more touches, right? He has yet to be extended. Thursday night becomes the youngest ever to reach 5,000 yards, and it was by a landslide, by the way. It's not like it was like by a game. It was comfortably where like Buddy couldn't have done it this game, but he could have done it in the next 5 games and still would have had a mile of space between him and second place. So big ups to him. But
Big up.
Tony, how long till Minnesota pays him? Or are you one of the people that believe that Minnesota's going to fumble this situation and Justin Jefferson is going to take his talents elsewhere?
Let's be 100% honest with what it is. Minnesota will 1,000% fumble the ball with this. And I say that because look at what they did to arguably one of the best wide receivers in history, not only in their own history, but NFL history, and by a gentleman who wore the number 84, Randy Moss. What did they do?
Yep.
Traded him to the Raiders for peanuts, was with the Raiders, and then the Patriots were like, yeah, we want that. And then he ends up going to have one of the greatest seasons of his career and in the NFL. And the Vikings were just like, yeah, we're okay with that. We're
Tony,
cool
for
with that.
recency bias, how did they acquire Justin Jefferson again?
I believe I don't actually remember how they acquired Justin Jefferson.
They traded Stephon Diggs because they weren't willing to pay Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Now I will say
I forgot all about that.
Looking at what Stephon has done now in Buffalo, though, I don't necessarily look at that as a bad thing. And I'm not saying that because Stephon Diggs isn't talented, but the fact that he kind of reminds me, and y'all, and I may or may not get a lot of hate for this. Y'all remember how Odell was at first with not only New York but Cleveland? Like,
No,
hey,
I
you need to
agree
give me
with
the
that.
ball more. You need to give me the ball more. You need to give me the ball more. It's like, all right, well, A, you need to get open. B, I need you to be on the field more, which I will say to Stephon's credit, he doesn't get hurt hardly at all. So he's almost always consistently there.
His feelings
But I will say, too, he, to me, fumbled the ball more in Minnesota because if you look at Minnesota, like at their peak with the weapons that they had, because they had Dalvin Cook, they had Stephon Diggs, they had Adam Thielen, and you had Kyle Rudolph kind of at the end of his career, but still a solid red zone threat. And he was like, you know what, I want to go? I want to go to Buffalo, where they don't have a true, even like solid number 2 receiver. They don't have a run game. I'm going to be the main show. And then when I get beat one-on-one, I'm gonna be mad because now I'm not getting the ball as much.
I will
Like,
say
no.
to that point though, I think Stephon's issue, and he kind of talked about it on a podcast before, was that they were viewing Adam Thielen as the number 1 wide receiver moving forward. It wasn't even just for that season; it was moving forward. So he felt like they didn't utilize him correctly. They didn't view him as a franchise wide receiver, and I kind of do disagree with you, Tony. I do believe Stephon Diggs is a franchise wide receiver, and I do think he is an absolute dog. I think he's a top 5 wide receiver in today's game. Now, he isn't in the same breath as Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, but I definitely would put him in the same box as a Jalen Waddle or a Tyreek Hill. I definitely would. So I think at those points and having those conversations, you see a team like Minnesota who still has another year of Kirk Cousins, mind you. They're not getting rid of him anytime soon, and there aren't quarterbacks really in the market right now that are going to be able to get them in, whether that's trade or another situation. To me personally, we talked about it last year. I think it would have been a beautiful, beautiful ending to what Brett Favre was for the Green Bay Packers if Aaron Rodgers was traded to Minnesota. You know what I mean? And I think that just really would have been their best move. They obviously could have been in the Tom Brady sweepstakes and so many different things, but they're rocking out with Kirko. Big ISO, big Kirko. He dripping. I mean, come on, but Pride, the reality of that is, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? Yo, baby!
What up, baby?
What's the word, cat? But wait, really quick. This is my last point.
Go
I think watching how they handled Dalvin, watching how they've handled so many other players, everybody's gotten moved because of money. It has to be for somebody. And if by the end of the season they haven't had that conversation with him, I'm looking at you and I'm like, 1, you disrespected me. 2, Kirk Cousins is my quarterback. And 3, Kirk Cousins is my quarterback. I'm putting that.
Hold on, time out. Hold on, time out. Stop trying to make it seem like Kirk Cousins ain't done this man no favors. Come on now.
He's done him favors, but I wanna pose you a question. This one's for you, Pride. Do you think he looks over at his LSU counterparts, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, having a ball together, having a field day? If you're looking at Justin Jefferson with 5,000 yards with Kirk Cousins, how many yards does he have with Joe Burrow?
Probably the same, because guess what? He's getting the same number of targets.
I think even more.
That's not true at all.
Well, because that kind of goes back to my point, and I'm not saying that Stephon Diggs isn't a legitimate number 1 wide receiver, but that was kind of the same issue, like you said, where they viewed Adam Thielen more as the number 1 wide receiver than they did Diggs, and I'm gonna say that for 2 reasons. One is statistically, Thielen was putting up bigger numbers. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, but the other thing is the intangibles that go with it too, because I mean, you got to think about it. Like Stephon, he's a little bit vocal. Like Adam just kind of does his thing, like we talked about with the whole Prime situation with Jay Norville. Like, okay, I'm gonna just do my actions on the field. I'm not even gonna really like give you any kind of day to deal with that. Right, but no, I mean, I think honestly, to Pride's point, like if Justin Jefferson is on the Cincinnati Bengals, he's probably gonna have the same amount of targets, if not less. Because, as we all know, and Mike, definitely haven't played the game, you have certain hot hands.
Yeah,
like if Jamar's going off for like if he's got 5 catches, like 150 yards and 2 tutties, it's like Yeah, I'm gonna keep giving Jamar the ball. Like JJ, I'm sorry, like it's Jamar's day type deal.
No, 100%. But I want to
And
pose this.
unfortunately though, hold on to double on Tony's point. I know I just got it here. What's up? First of all, what's going on, guys?
What they do, baby?
Hey, you know what I'm saying? I gotta say
I was
what's up to
actually about to ask
everybody.
Rob Scott a question too. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, but I gotta let you know that I think that's the reason why they go grab a TJ Hawkinson, because now with the way that JJ is getting double teamed and he's getting pressured, he's not gonna be able to get off. Like it's easy to get off when nobody sees you coming.
Right.
But when like you're being considered the number one receiver in the league, best believe all eyes are on you now. So now you look at the opportunities just from the first two games in the season for Minnesota that TJ Hawkinson is getting. I mean, I even betted on the guy on my fantasy, and I knew he was going to get a touchdown. He got a touchdown. Like, and that's the situation. So now, from a business standpoint, do I really lock down Justin Jefferson? Because, like, yeah, he's considered the number one receiver, but is he really doing anything special for me right now? I'm just speaking for the first two games of the season. Has he really done anything special for me? Because
Justin
right
Jefferson?
now, it
Didn't he
seems
have like?
like
Didn't he have
defense.
like?
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's getting the yardage, but is he putting the points on the board?
Right. But here's where
Well,
I'm gonna
well,
clap back at that. That's your quarterback's fault.
I
I have,
yeah,
I have no problem Justin Jefferson in the end zone. Who's throwing him the ball?
Yo, you can't do that. Hold on, time out.
I did it.
With all due respect, Mike, you know I love you.
You don't gotta.
You know
respect me,
I
bro.
look
You
at
don't gotta
you.
respect me.
You're
Keep it
invited to
real.
the cookout. You are my Max Kellerman, okay? But you are out of your fucking mind. You are out of your fucking mind.
We've
When
established
you
that a
tell
long time
me
ago.
that it's Kirk Cousins' fault he's not getting those touchdowns, when not only is he getting the target, why is he getting the yardage? First of all, can somebody explain to me why he's getting the yardage? Can somebody explain that to me?
He's a premier wide
Anyone?
receiver.
Anybody explain to me why he's getting the yardage?
Because he's getting in
He's
between the
getting the
numbers.
yardage. He's
Yeah.
He's
getting the
getting in
yardage
between the numbers, but when it gets into the red zone,
because you
TJ
got another option.
TJ Hawkinson is their first option in the red zone.
So why are we gonna sit here and blame Kirk Cousins?
I'm not blaming Kurt. I'm
I'm
speaking the
asking
truth.
I'm asking Mike. I'm asking Mike specifically because you're trying to make this like you're trying to look for some unknown reason. You're trying to blame him for some unknown reason. But my thing is, not only do they, especially in the red zone, they like trying their sneaks. They try running the ball, and when it's a pass, the first person they look to is Hawkinson. There have been multiple times where on goal line, Justin Jefferson isn't on the field. If you're gonna sit there and tell me and look me in my eyes, my coked out eyes right now, bro, and you're gonna tell me that it's Kirk Cousins' fault, you are out of your mind. You're so invited to the cookout. You are my Max Kellerman, and I love you. You feel me? I love you. I really do. You are my man. I swear to, if you live closer, I'd propose to you. I love you, Michael. I really do. You my man. You hold me down. But God damn it, bro, you need to let me go right now. You need to let me fly up to God because the blasphemy you're speaking, you won't get smited. Don't you go blaming Kirk Cousins on this.
I hear you.
Pride,
you know I hear you, right? But I'm gonna throw it this way, all right? I'm gonna throw it this way. I'm gonna throw it out as my example. Okay? It's just an example. Now we can make other examples. We can have this conversation in different light with different teams and different organizations. But it's just where I'm coming from with it. It's just from my perspective, and it's where I'm coming through, understanding that you got to spread out the ball, right? And understanding that obviously things aren't going to be perfect. Things aren't going to always be the way you want them to be. But I could look at a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, and I could see how Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce were both able to coexist in the red zone specifically with Patrick Mahomes. Whereas when I see a guy like Kirk Cousins, there's definitely guys he favors in the red zone more than others. And it's not because guys aren't open. It's just because that's what he knows works for him. And that's just my personal opinion.
But to counter that, hold on, first of all, let me stop. Tony, go ahead and speak because I heard you trying to get into it. And I'll go right after you, Tony.
I'm about to tell you my fault, Tony. Go ahead, my fault.
I say, here's my question for you, Pride, because at the end of the day, Kirk Cousins is the one driving the ship. Like, not only that, who are we blaming then for the fact that the Vikings lost to Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home? Like, not even in Florida, in Minnesota, at home. Like, who we blaming?
So let me allow me to ask you, who are you blaming?
I will say Kirk had a good game.
That's my point.
And then I will have to say for game 2 against the Eagles on Thursday
He
night
balled out
football,
of his mind.
Justin Jefferson gave away that with the fumble in the end zone.
Well, I ain't gonna say that because I do believe they had opportunities, and I did just.
They had opportunities, but when you lose by less than a
that was a momentum
touchdown,
killer right there.
that's one of
was a
those
momentum
things
killer.
that you look back and say, if we didn't give that up, we would have won this game.
Now,
That's
I will
true.
say
Right or
this,
wrong?
To that
You're right
point,
there. You're right there. That's a momentum killer right there at the bare minimum.
I do
That's
think
a
now
momentum killer.
here's something that I kind of want to put in perspective that to me it matters. Now you can let me know if it doesn't matter to you. Okay, I'm curious on your opinion. So Kirk Cousins in game 1 against Tampa. First of all, Justin Jefferson, phenomenal. Over 100 yards at halftime. I'll give respect to both him and Kirk. They were cooking. I mean, that's just really what it was. Bears are definitely not doing that tomorrow. Me and Rob Scott are going to be pissed. But it is what it is. The point of that is he finishes the day with 9 receptions and 150 yards, no touchdown. Kirk Cousins finishes with 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 344 yards. But what I do see out of that is he had 44 passing attempts, 33 for 44 on the day. And it's like 350 yards. Can we agree that if you're an elite quarterback in this league is kind of just the average? You know what I mean? Like that's what it's supposed to be. That's what you're supposed to have. 300 yards minimum. When you have 44 attempts, you have no run game. Alexander Madison had 11 carries for 34 yards because, by the way, everybody thought Dalvin Cook was washed and Madison was next up in Minnesota, and that has not been the case. Absolute dog water, Buki. But with that being said, 44 attempts, 344 yards, and 2 touchdowns and a pick. It's just not. I mean, give Patrick Mahomes, and I know that's a totally different conversation. Give Joe Burrow, give Josh Allen, give Jalen Hurts, give Patrick Mahomes 44 attempts, and I mean, look at Tua with 466 and less than 40 attempts. Like that's what I'm trying to say right now is like,
but again,
the numbers for sure.
But again,
but that was
what you're attempting to do, what you are attempting to do. Which listen, I understand a lot of people will let you say this stuff and they're scared to say anything, just like they're scared to actually host a show. But I'm not gonna let you do that. What you're doing, you're getting the anomaly and pretending as if that is the common theme.
Tua is an anomaly.
Pretending. No, hold on. Anybody putting up over 400 passing yards in one game with less than 35 attempts, that's an anomaly. If you tell me it's not an anomaly, you have no idea what the bloody fuck you're talking about. Am I right or am I wrong?
You know what? I'm gonna have to say this.
That's an anomaly.
Let me say this.
And I love Tua.
Let me say this.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I can't believe I'm about to see your pride.
Let's go.
In the way, if Tom Brady had the receivers to do what Tyreek Hill and Jaden Waddle, in particular Tyreek Hill, because we got to talk about it. Tyreek Hill just had over 200 yards.
No, we don't talk about it.
And two tutties.
Right.
So,
but
at the same time, you have to look at Tua Tagovailoa, and I'm going to say his full name because he deserves it. Double T, as I like to call him, because I give nicknames to people that's been performing.
Do you know what his middle name is?
He's been putting his receivers in position to be successful. 100%. I have to say that.
Okay, and that's
Tua is playing above his, like from what I projected for Tua, he is playing above his expectations right now.
And that's okay.
I have to give it to him.
That's okay. And we have that conversation. But you know what we don't talk about? We talk about TJ Hawkinson. We talk about Justin Jefferson. He has Jordan Addison, too. He has a Waddle and Hill connection. Jordan Addison is a stud.
Oh, my God.
When am I going
to see receivers? But receivers have to make themselves available.
And not only that, but also let's again, this is why I get mad and this is why I get hot. Again, I love you, Michael. I really do. But you gotta do better because you're drooling over Jordan Addison when the man in that week when you're talking about was one of the dudes who got the touchdown.
Bro,
so you want to take that touchdown with really get Justin Jefferson? You said what?
What?
No, I'm asking what'd you say?
Oh, I said he runs 180 miles an hour.
I understand that, but he was still used. Listen, George Addison can run, but he's a weird guy because he can run, but you can also throw some jump balls depending on who's covering him.
No, for sure. But Pride, here's my point. And we had this kind of conversation about Ryan Tannehill literally a year ago. And the conversation of that
I was on drugs when I did that Tannehill. I was on drugs.
100%, but I'm trying to tell you,
you're a little on drugs defending Cousins because when the lights are bright, his Cousins sucks.
And that's
not necessarily because he balls out. He balls out. He just lose, and it's easy to say that he sucked because it's easy to do that. But he balls out.
Pride, at the end of the day, because let me ask you this, because this was a question brought up about Dak Prescott against the Giants. Dak, all honesty, looked like hot shit, like statistically hot garbage, but his team got the dub at the end of the night. Like, which would you rather have? Would you rather have like Kirk Cousins ball out and take an L? Or would you rather have Kirk be like average to below average, but his team still come away with a win?
I mean, it depends.
Mind you, Pride,
I do want to but the regular season you can sell out a little bit. And by the way, I'm not killing Dak for that because to be honest, when you got a 14-0 lead. When the first time you touched the floor, listen, Dak was horrible week 1. I gave him a pass because he didn't have to do anything. By the time he got on the field, they were already started killing the clock. Think about it. They're killing the clock in the first quarter.
Right.
You know?
But can we put this in perspective, too?
Can I just give y'all breaking news?
Please.
Another one of Deion's kids just scored the ball. Shiloh Sanders with an 80-yard interception return, pick 6. Colorado just scored, and let's just say Colorado right now is taking it personal because his other son just scored. Let's get it.
You'd love to see it. You'd love to
see it.
Michael. Nah, fuck that. He gets his own moment. Deion gets a. We'll be back in 2 minutes with a commercial break. Nah, I'm playing. But
just start running Deion Sanders ads. Just start running them.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to break up the beautiful conversation going on. But Shiloh this scored is taking it personal.
I walked away from the TV for 2 minutes to talk to Pride, and I missed a Sanders pick 6. But
sensational.
I do think at the end of the day, here's what I'm going to mention. I think it's important to talk about winning at the quarterback position. Now, we can obviously talk about what the rest of the team is and what they are. I'm not going to kill Kirk every single year because Washington never really put a great team around him. Yeah, I think we can all agree about that. Washington's been a shit show.
I don't know, man. I mean, overall, like I ain't going to sit here and say he had perennial players, but at one point he had Pierre Garçon, he had Deshaun Jackson, he had
Pierre Garçon when he was on his way out because the next year he got cut. Who else? What else?
He had him like
what
2
else?
or 3 years. No, he had him like 2-3 years, bro. Come on now.
Right, but the last productive year he had was his first year. After that dude was a bum and got cut.
But Pride, can I bring in relevance to this? Last year you finished the season 13-4. Right? Uh-huh. And you lose to a 10-7 team. And that's okay. But when you only have 273 yards in that game with 2 touchdowns and you have TJ Hawkinson, the number 1 premier wide receiver that it can arguably become the greatest wide receiver ever if he just finishes out his career as it currently stands. Justin Jefferson.
Oh, I thought you said TJ Hawkinson. My fault.
I mentioned TJ first, and then obviously you still have Dalvin Cook. You have Premier League, one of the greatest wide receivers the game has seen. And if it all
okay, got you.
That's what it is. I just saw the highlight of Deion's kid. Run, baby, run. Put your sunglasses on. Goddamn. But it's definitely something for me right now, bro, where it's like in those moments against a 10-7 team, when you're 13-4 and you're 273 yards and 2 touchdowns, that's just not good enough. That's just not good enough with the offensive coordinator that you have, with the weapons that you have to you. I'm not saying that Kirk Cousins is a bad quarterback. But Kirk Cousins is not going to take you there. And the whole conversation originated with why would Justin Jefferson leave if it's not because of the money? I think he would rather go play with a legitimate quarterback that's going to help take him over that hump. That's just me.
I'm trying to calm myself down. Really.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, bro. Rob, Tony, let me talk to you because I can't with Michael right now. I can't with him right now.
Right. It sounds like you need
and I'm sweating.
Ice down. Big Kirk was dripping.
No. Yo, Jalen Ramsey, I thought it was dress rehearsal. Dress rehearsal. Bring Kirk go, what? Trip. Yo. And then the dude that they go, he goes, Big Kirko. I'm convinced that wasn't scripted. Like, Buddy really laughed and said, yo, that was funny. They put it in there.
But
Oh, man.
can I give you one though? Can I give you one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to counter your argument a little bit.
All right, let me hear it.
And the reason I want to counter it because we have celebrated. I'm going to use Tom Brady again. We've celebrated Tom Brady clutch plays when he can only score 1 touchdown and 5 field goals in the Super Bowl, and we've celebrated him. So at the same time, even though Kirk Cousins, he has put up the numbers, but he hasn't gotten the W's in prime time. And that's where the problem lies. I'm not saying that he's playing basura, but what I'm saying is, as a quarterback of his veteran status, sooner or later you have to start looking at the quarterback to say that you're not using your receivers to the best of their abilities when you're considered to have the best receiver in football.
But you can't.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh, baby, listen. I would be with you if during these primetime games, Kirk Cousins is not targeting his receivers. But whether it's primetime, no time, daytime, nighttime, sex time, virgin time, it don't matter. East time, west time, it don't matter, baby. Like, man is targeting Justin Jefferson every single time he's out there, no matter what. Now, if he gets double teamed to the point that he can't do it, he'll look elsewhere. And Justin Jefferson understands that. I just don't understand. If the man goes out there on prime time and gives you 28 to 37 points, and the other team scores on a field goal, how in the bloody wild blue fucking yonder can we sit here and go, well, Kirk Cousins got to do better? I don't understand that part. Because if they lost because he was doo-doo, I'm with you. Like that playoff game. Notice how I'm not defending that playoff game. Why? Because Kirk Cousins did sell out. He did. He didn't play his best football. So that he's gonna wear it. And I'm not.
And at the same time, how many prime got time? So in particular, this Thursday night prime time game, he didn't play bad at all. I give you that. He played decent. He played almost. I'm gonna say good. He played good. But
I will say this to my daddy friend. Hold on. No, Rob, I gotta stick this in there. I'm sorry. If Justin Herbert did the same stat line, y'all deep throwing him. If Trevor
No. Let me tell you. No. Pride, can I tell you something?
Nope.
Can I tell you something? Because I'm starting to question Justin Herbert right now. I'm not putting Justin Herbert in my top 5 right now because Justin Herbert hasn't won anything significant. I'm just letting you right now.
I wrote down Justin Herbert's name. I crumpled it up. I threw it away. Patrick Mahomes says this. This is why he's the best. If Patrick Mahomes has the same exact stat line, you guys are saying that's why he's the GOAT. That's why he's the greatest in the history of the Kansas City Chiefs. If Patrick Mahomes has the same stat line, if Deshaun Watson does this, we're saying he's back. If Jared Goff does this, the Lions are dangerous. If Tua Tagovailoa does this, oh man, concussions ain't it. But for some unknown reason, when Kirk Cousins does it, for some reason, it becomes passé, or it's the quote-unquote norm. If Mac Jones did this, everyone's calling Bill Belichick a visionary for finding the next Tom Brady.
Hold on, Pride. You're using bad examples because Detroit just beat Green Bay last year and eliminated them from playoff contention, and then beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Game 1 in the NFC season, in the NFL season. I'm just saying. Let's just stop using these excuses.
I'm back, Pride. I'm with you because Rob Scott, we're not going to do that. Yeah, because that was the Lions' Super Bowl because they still didn't make the playoffs.
Hey, guess what, though? And they're holding up that trophy high, beating on Green Bay. Yeah.
I am proud. Yeah. You deserve that one. Rob. But this is all I'm saying. I got the same mentality as football, as I do in basketball, as I do in soccer, as I do in hockey. If the superstar shows up and balls out and they lose, it is lazy, it is incomprehensible, intolerable, and should be illegal.
Colorado State just did a flea flicker.
I just said that. No one heard me.
I was about to say
I heard you. I
Mike
watched
did say
it.
it. Yeah,
But-
Mike did say it. But I will say is I do not think it's fair to look at the superstar and say, granted, Kirk Cousins not a superstar, but he's still the quarterback.
Man, you were about to give me pop.
No, he's not. He's not a superstar, but he's at the superstar position. So
Well,
when it comes to wins and losses, you always put it on the quarterback. It is not fair when the guy balls out to look at him and say, you should have done better. Because I'm going to ask you a question. With how great Tua Tagovailoa go to play, if they lose, is that a bad game?
Yes.
If they lost, is that a bad game?
Yeah.
Yes.
In the eyes of Jerry
Here's
Jones.
what I'll say about Kirk. Here's what I'll say about Kirk. It's never been an issue about whether or not Kirk can ball out. We saw Kirk ball out with Washington when, like you said, he didn't have nobody. He was still throwing for, over 4,000 yards. He was throwing for over 30 tutties. Like, Kirk was balling out. He's balled out in Minnesota. That's the issue, is we know Kirk can ball out, but for whatever reason, and Pride, whether you want to blame the defense, whether you want to blame the lack of run game, whether you want to blame the receivers, whatever, why is it that Kirk can't finish? That's the problem.
So let me ask you a question.
It's not that he's not statistically great, because he is. He
let me ask you a
can't
question.
finish when he needs to.
Let me ask you a question. First of all, he can't finish
that's
because he
wrong.
got kids. So watch it, okay? He can't finish.
Do what?
He got kids. Okay? That's number one. But number two,
If
let me ask you a question.
we gonna say that, so can Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers just can't pull out. Like,
Oh,
Phillip
nah,
Rivers
bro.
finished
That
nine
dude, that
times.
dude.
Wow.
He's
Did
not
he just say Phyllis Rivers?
No, he's not wrong because I've never met a guy finish before he started. Philip Rivers is on a whole nother level, bro. He's on a whole.
Anyway, bro.
See, people say that he went to coach a little football team. No, that's just his kids. He's having them run drills. That's all it is. Man got a 53-man roster full of kids, bro. On God, right? But I'm gonna answer your question like this. This is how I'm gonna answer your question. Of those losses, how many times has Kirk Cousins had to lead the team to score at least 35 to 40 points? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Because I don't think it's fair if the guy is balling out. If they're getting blown out and offensively he's not doing anything, you got it. But again, it comes down to the part of the question that everyone is, and it is not just y'all. Every time I ask this question to anybody, they get scared to answer this question. Why is it that even when he balls out, he needs to be? Because if we're doing by this logic,
I have an
Justin
answer.
Jefferson had a horrible game too because they lost.
I have an answer.
Go ahead, talk to me.
I think.
Talk to me.
Hey, but you got to give me credit even if you don't like my answer because I'm the only one that's giving you an answer.
Try.
All right,
ahead.
Check me
Go
out.
to the excuse.
So here's the reason. And I think this is the part where everybody's getting it twisted. You never heard this really about Kirk Cousins to the extreme that you have until the last 10 years. And I think the reason for that, when you talked about Tua earlier, Pride. Now, if the same thing happened to Tua, Colorado State just got fucked.
And he did the Dion strut too.
Man, 6'6". But with that being said, I'm gonna get back to it. A conversation that I think it is always brought up is how much time do you have left, Pride?
Bro, whatever.
No, but this is what I'm saying. If you're Kirk Cousins, you are 35 years old. So when hear me out, like let me finish here. I think it's important in the conversation of what we've seen from you the last 15 years in the NFL versus Tua, Mac Jones, Justin Herbert, who are only 24, 25 years old, making those mistakes, not winning games. For fans, and you know how fans are. Oh, they have all the time in the world to win. Look at Chicago Bears fans. Every single time a quarterback comes into town, oh, he's got time. 4 years go by, and you're like, all right, bro, what the fuck? Like, we have nothing to show for it. For Kirk Cousins, It's that same conversation of you're 35 years old now. You're not 25. So the 4,000 yards and the 40 touchdowns or 30 touchdowns a year don't impress people anymore. People want to start seeing what are you going to be able to do to win a championship, to be known as a winner, to be known as a Hall of Famer. And I think you start to get to that conversation that Aaron Rodgers even started having about himself, to where it's like, hey, I could stay in Green Bay and win MVPs and throw these great 4,000, 5,000 yard seasons. But at the end of the day, people are always going to hold me for only having one ring. Whereas Big Kirko ain't even been to the dance. And that's not completely his fault because, again, you need to have a complete roster to be able to get to that place, unless you're Thomas Patrick Edward Brady Jr. But I think at the end of the day, you're starting to get to that point where Kirk Cousins is like, all right, bro.
Mike, baby, we can't hear you no more, bro.
Oh, can you hear me now, bro?
I hear you now.
Okay, so you start to get to that point with Kirk Cousins where it's like, yo, you're not 24, 25, not even 30, bro. You are 35. At what point are we going to get over the hump? At what point are you even going to win on Monday Night Football? I mean, it took him till he was 33.
But it's not okay. But again,
But do you hear me though?
No, because you're still not answering the question. If the man is balling on Monday Night Football, why are we blaming him?
But he's not.
Because at the end of the day,
he is.
But he's not.
Because you got to think. Yes,
Okay,
he's balling
time
out.
out. No.
But
Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
Because he's balling out, right? And he's balling out in prime time, but he's not winning the games. Now, like you said, in regular season, you can let it slide. You can lose a few games, and it's not that big of a deal because you could come back and win it. He's also not doing it when it matters most because every playoff game is a primetime game. Now, like you said, he could still be balling out. Like if like you said, if he's not moving the offense, if he's not doing what he's supposed to do, then yes, it's all Kirk's fault. But if he's balling out and he's still not getting the win, like Mike said, when you have the Tua Tagovailoas, when you have the Justin Herbert blowing this, 28-3, whatever lead, pulling a Matt Ryan type thing, then yeah, you're going to get criticized, but it's okay. They have a chance to still learn. Maybe it's a coaching type thing. Like Mike said, it's been like this for 10 years. It's been like that with Washington. It's Kirk has the talent. Kirk is able to elevate, mediocre talent to potentially great levels. He has a phenomenal wide receiver in Justin Jefferson. Why can't they at least come away with the dub? Like that's the issue.
I just want to throw it out there. By the way, and Greg says, "What's up, guys? Kirk Cousins is an above-average quarterback. That's all he ever will be." I agree with you. I'm not saying that the guy. I think at best he'll probably is like 10 in the top 10 quarterbacks. Like I that's not what I'm saying. But my issue, for example, you're saying that in the playoffs he doesn't show up, right? But the reality of the situation is that he kind of does.
He doesn't show up enough to win, though. Like statistically, Kirk is there.
I'm looking at it. Okay, in his entire, so he's played 5 games in the playoffs in his entire career. Okay, got pass rating of 93.7 with over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception.
Okay.
All that is taking into account. It's taking into account when in Washington, the first time he's ever been in the playoffs in Washington, they threw him in there and man only had 3 passing attempts.
You know where I think Tony's going with it, though, Pride, and where I kind of agree with him, and I'm kind of looking at it from a different perspective, is I kind of look at what happened against the Chicago Bears last week. Like, here's the big thing, and I think this is, and I hate to say this because I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it happens. Fuck it. Rob Scott, close your ears. But Justin Fields and Jordan Love had the same quarterback completion rating, which was 50. 50, Pride. It was absolutely horrible. Play the trash, please.
But the Bears made Jordan Love look like the second coming of Aaron Rodgers.
But here's the thing. The key part there, Jordan Love did not statistically have a Kirk Cousins or a Joe Burrow or any type of elite quarterback play from a passing yard perspective or a completion perspective, but they were 100% on third downs. They were 100% in the red zone. He had 3 touchdowns to win the game. And I think that's where you start to have those conversations. I know it's very different for what we're talking about, but for Tony's point, it's the stats are cool, but big-time players make big-time plays in big moments. And I think on third down, having 100% completion rating, I know that's an anomaly. We're talking about anomalies, but even having 60 to 75% completion rating on third down is elite. Even having 70% completion rating in the end zone, in the red zone, is elite. And when you start to have those conversations about Kirk, yes, by the end of the game, he's going to have 300 yards. But what was his completions on third down with Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, and TJ Hawkinson and a top 10 defense? What was his completions in the red zone? What was he able to do and what was he able to accomplish? Now, the stats don't lie. The stats don't lie. The stats show you that, hey.
The completion must have been solid because he had 4 touchdowns. But I guess that doesn't count.
He had 2 touchdowns and 200 yards and wasn't great against the Giants.
Against Daniel Jones and the Giants.
Against the 10-7 Giants who didn't have a wide receiver.
And let's just keep it real. When it comes to the media, though, but when it comes to the media, the same way they're gonna praise you is the same way they're gonna tear you down. And unfortunately, he is as great as Justin Jefferson is. Right now, when you think of the Minnesota Vikings, you think about the the play of Kirk Cousins, and if Kirk Cousins can take you to the promised land, especially with Kirk Cousins getting that contract. Same way how he just mentioned with the Jets. With the Jets, Aaron Rodgers was the story. So now the story is going to be on Zach Miller. And then you look at Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love is the story because Aaron Rodgers is no longer there. So even though against the Chicago Bears, if you really look into it, it was Aaron Jones who really broke down the Bears and how he just ran all over the Bears. You're going to look at the end of the day, they're going to say, oh, Jordan Love did what he was supposed to do. It's just how the media is, Pride. You understand that? So when you look at Kirk Cousins, unfortunately, the Vikings have not been able to get it done in prime time or when it counts in the playoffs. And unfortunately, Kirk Cousins is going to get the brunt of that blame.
But that's still dumb. That's still dumb. And that's the point I'm trying to make. It's dumb. It's dumb because I'm not gonna look at you and say just because you lost the game, oh, you played horrible. I believe that's laziness. And yeah, by the way, that's what it is, bro. That's what I'm talking about, Tony. That's what I was talking about earlier. Yeah, bro, they're getting into it, bro, and it's getting. I'm about to check it on Monday.
Yeah, they wilding out, bro. They just tried to take out Travis Hunter. What they on?
Oh no! I just saw that, but I'm talking about earlier. I was talking about I guess Stephen A. Smith and T.O. got beef. They going at it on Twitter.
Real bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm about to go check that out. They going at it on Twitter right now?
Oh yeah, baby boy.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, Rob. I got you.
Oh yes,
See,
I
just look up
appreciate
Stephen
you,
A.
Toto.
Yeah, just look up Stephen A. His tweets are still up, and then you can just follow it. It's crazy.
All right, Pride. I got you, Pride. I'm here for you. You ready for this, baby boy?
Go ahead. I'm ready.
All right, check this out. 34-24 loss against the New York Giants. The Minnesota Vikings finished the day with 332 total yards, 271 passing, 61 rushing. Dalvin Cook is mid. Come on, confirmed. But
yeah, they got whoever honestly believed that, bro. They got
Madison. Madison is GOAT. Madison is next up.
Yeah, bro.
But here's a big one for me. 21 first downs versus 28 from the New York Giants. Now that I don't give a fuck about that. But here's the big part for me that meant everything. On fourth down efficiency, the Giants were 2 for 2. On third down efficiency, they were 7 for 13. The Giants on third down efficiency, which is just converting on third down, they were 4 for 10. And on fourth down, they were 1 for 2. 1 for 2, 50%, not horrible. They didn't really have a lot of opportunities on fourth down. But third down being 4 for 10 is fucking absurd to me. I mean, you cannot convert. I mean, that's just really what that's 6 failed opportunities.
To an extent, though. But to an extent, because you're also not taking into account there are times where you just end up going like the first play, it eats up like 4 yards. Now you're 2nd and 6. Your next play 7 yards. I don't know, man. I just agree to disagree. I just don't. I'm not gonna sit here and blame Kirk Cousins when he's done what he had to do.
Touchdown Colorado, baby. Fuck that dude.
Oh, on God, let's go, baby. But it's I don't understand it when the defense, like all the stats you're bringing up about how the Giants offense, that's the defense. And it's funny when you said, oh yeah, Kirk Cousins lost to Daniel Jones. Like, no wide receivers. But that's not Kirk Cousins. That's the defense. That's the defense who, for some unknown reason, didn't make adjustments.
Right, 100%. And I hear that.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's necessary to just solely bash me, though. But, I do drugs.
No, I definitely agree. I think that just the counter to that is just, at the end of the day, it's Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley versus the world. And you have Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, TJ Hawkinson, and Dalvin Cook. And a top 10 defense. Like, you should be able to match whatever they're doing. And you just couldn't convert. And that was the problem. The problem is they had 68 total plays, the New York Giants offense, versus 56 because you couldn't convert on third down and you had to punt the ball. That was a big part of why they couldn't get plays going, why they couldn't score touchdowns, is because they couldn't have the ball long enough. The defense was on the field.
And this was last year?
This was the playoff game of last year that they lost.
Right? Okay. And Minnesota couldn't get no touchdowns? Mm-mm. Can you do me a favor? It's ironic you left out. Can you tell me how many touchdowns Kirk Cousins threw for?
2.
But they couldn't score?
Couldn't score more than 2 touchdowns? No.
He threw for 2 touchdowns. They had a couple field goals. I think they had one more rushing touchdown. Fact
Sure.
check me on that.
I'm gonna check it out right now. I know he threw
Fact
2
check me on the
touchdowns
score
for
of that game.
sure. 273 yards, 2 touchdowns, 31 for 39. Dalvin Cook had 15 carries for 60 yards. TJ Hawkinson had himself a day, 10 receptions for 129 yards. I think I had him in fantasy that day too. That was a pretty good day. I don't believe they had another rushing touchdown though, Pride. I believe those were all field goals? Question mark?
It could have been field goal. But hold on.
No, it had to be another touchdown, right?
Man, shout out to Offset for being at the game. Hey, can I switch up the subject real quick?
Go ahead.
Please, sir.
I know y'all might talk about this later, and I want to just let y'all know, whenever y'all do a show, just let me know. I would
Man,
love to participate
Man,
with you.
we didn't know you
with
were
you,
back, baby.
brethren.
We just happy
Hey,
Rob's
I
back.
told you I'm back. Hey, look, hey. First of all, before I get into my question, I just want to. I gave Mike Hughes a shout out on my show. But I want to give a shout. I want to just sing Mike Hughes praises. Mike Hughes has been holding me accountable. He's like,
Yes,
Rob, you said you
sir.
bringing back your show, and I'm not trying to hear nothing
Wow.
until I see your show back. And I appreciate you, Mike. I love you, brother.
It's all love.
Love to hear it.
Hey, that's real talk. And I thank him for that added inspiration, and I wanted to put a little extra special sauce on it. I'm still wet behind the ears when it comes to StreamYard, but I'm about to learn that. I'm about to learn it. Like the first part of my show, for like the maybe 2-3 minutes, I was mute, and I didn't realize I was mute. That's okay. We made it work, baby.
I was
But
wondering what happened. I was wondering. I was like, is it his headphones?
no. I didn't realize because I hit mute after I hit my intro, and then I didn't realize it was gonna unmute itself. I thought it was just on mute. That's all it was. But see, I learned it. At least I learned. That's all the mistake is. A mistake is not a mistake. It's a learning lesson, people. Take that to heart. But I want to pose this question to you guys. Is Shador the real deal? Do you think Shador Sanders game can translate into the NFL game?
I'm gonna see your question with another question because it's important to an answer.
Okay.
Is he playing both sides of the ball, or do you see him just playing quarterback?
Baby. Oh, what do you mean by that, baby boy?
That man
You
is
think they might
a
move into like a
versatile
running
player.
back?
I think I'm not saying he's a running back, but I think he's a guy that you could plug in a lot of different places. I've seen him do a lot of
Like an Amendola?
100%. I think I look at him.
Hold on, Shador?
He's a great quarterback, Pride. I want to make that.
No, hold on. Are you good?
I'm great, but here's the point
Sure.
I'm making. Are you asking me if he's going to be an elite quarterback in the NFL or just an NFL player?
Is he going to be an elite quarterback in the NFL?
I'm gonna let Pride take it first.
He's elite in college. I will say that.
What the fuck are the Chicago Cubs doing right now?
He has he got a chance because everything I'm seeing from him when he's out there, his progression reading, it's great. He hangs in the pockets when he has to. When he runs, and this is honestly what I love about him. When he runs, he's not like other people who run just out of habit. He'll run, but he's staying behind that line of scrimmage and watching watching everything develop. And he's waiting. And he's like, can I still hit this guy? Can I still hit this guy? Do I still have options still?
Shout out to Tom Brady, baby.
What a go, man. So inspirational.
What a go.
No, what about Vigo, man? He's Vigo, man. That's my boy. But like,
hey, facts. Pride, facts.
Shoot. But everything I'm seeing from him shows me that he can't take that next step in the NFL. Right. It really is, because I'm looking at a kid who, like I said, he understands progressions. He knows who he can go for. He'll take some risks, but they're calculated risks. It's not him just saying, F it, someone's down there. No, it's like, I can throw this ball, and I know there's a legitimate chance that if my man can't get it, nobody can get it. And it puts him in a situation where he can take those risks, and no one's really going to question him because it's like, you know what? It's a calculated risk, and I'll live with that. Again, every time he rolls out of the pocket, he doesn't just look to run. He rolls out. It almost gives me Russell Wilson in Seattle vibes. When you see the play action of the rollout, you can't call out. He's running. You can't. Because you can't do that. Because once you crash, once whoever's watching him, whether it's a safety or you got another corner or the linebacker, once he crashes, he's got someone he can hit. So you can't automatically call out that he's running. And he's got perfect timing. Him being coached by his pops, who's hard on him, is going to get him ready for that next level. So that way, everything I'm seeing from him, he's got the talent and he shows me he's coachable. So far, unless something crazy happens, I'm looking at a kid who, and when I say something crazy, I'm talking about Deion Sanders got to go mentally crazy, then Shador got to go crazy right after him, bro. Like, I'm talking about a collapse of mass proportions. Everything Shador is showing me, granted, it's a small sample size, but I'm talking about right here, right now.
Is it really a small sample size, though? Because he's doing the same thing he did in SWAC.
Well, people don't count it for some unknown reason. People don't count it for some
But he's doing the same thing.
And I'm with it. Don't get it twisted. I'm with it. I'm 100% with you. But the reality of the situation is the same thing as Deion Sanders. No one's taking him seriously until these 2 games. Or technically 3, because this is the 3rd game. No one's taking him serious until now. Even though he's been doing this stuff for years. Years. I'm talking before he went to...
Before SWAC. We're talking about high school level.
Yes, he's been doing this for years.
He wins.
Right. So my thing is I'm looking at it from he's showing me everything he can. Like, he's showing me everything I would love to see in a guy I'm going to bank my future on. I'm seeing a kid, and frankly, if I'm going to be honest, I think he's showing me more than what you're seeing from a guy like Bryce Young. He's showing me more than what you're seeing from a guy like CJ Stroud. He's showing me more than you're seeing. Because look at the path this kid is taking. Look at the path this kid took.
Okay, Pride's spitting bars now.
I'm just saying, if we're going to have a real-life conversation, let's also throw real-life facts in there. From everything I'm seeing from Shador, in 3 games, he's been through more adversity than CJ Stroud, than Trevor Lawrence. Nothing. Like my nuts. Nothing.
Trevor Lawrence is a national champion.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. I'm not gonna go.
See, again, Mike, baby, I love you, and I want you to repeat my statement to me word for word.
I don't want.
I want you to repeat my statement.
I wasn't listening.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So chill over there, baby boy, because I said he's been through more adversity.
But like, what's that adversity?
The man has not been respected, and he's still not getting respected to this day. For you to pose that question, Michael.
No, I hear you, but like, my point of it is like Trevor beating Alabama, Trevor beating OSU, Trevor beating all those big dang teams and carving up those defenses like it's fucking Thanksgiving, and he's shoving his hand up their ass.
Do me a favor. Who do they have on his offense?
Okay, but how is Clemson? We just talked about Clemson last week. Last week how Dabo's on the hot seat and how they haven't been the same since Trevor Lawrence left college football.
Can we leave T-Lo out of this?
Only Trevor Lawrence, but the entire team. And we're talking about why? Because he won't go to the transfer portal. Not because he can't coach.
Can we leave T-Lo out of this?
I want to say I was with you about the CJ Stroud and the Bryce Young thing. I do definitely agree. I mean, this kid's an absolute stud, and I think the problem is obviously coming from where he came from and the credibility in that kind of organization, especially at Jackson State. There's questions. There was a lot of people that were making jokes about it, saying it's the All-American of college football, like looking at the Spencer James story and, him going back to Crenshaw and winning the championship. Yep. A lot of people made jokes about it, but the reality is, I mean, his talent is translating on a lot of different levels. Like even tonight, he looks great. And I'm watching him right now in a step back and, I mean, he's hitting his strides and he's hitting his moments. He's not trying to air out the ball. He's not trying to flash you with plays or athleticism. He's playing winning football, and he can also air out the ball. Don't get it twisted. But he's not out here like Trey Lance just fucking up guys at Baylor because he can. Like he's genuinely trying to learn progressions. He's genuinely trying to read defenses and be the best version of him. And I think this kid's got all the talent in the world. Now, why I posed that question earlier to you guys about, do you see him being a quarterback or do you see him being something else? Kind of like Rob Sott said, talking about a Taysom Hill, talking about different kind of varieties. And I think he has the ability to do that. Not to say that he's not, but I think there's questions, kind of just like Deion. You could plug Deion in on offense. You could plug Deion in on defense. You could put him in wherever you really want him. And I think he has the same amount of talent. I just think after he really took over the quarterback position, you got to see a lot less of it. But I think at the end of the day, I think he's an NFL talent, an elite quarterback. I think there's a lot of questions about where he can be.
Mike, are you done, bro? Because we don't hear you no more.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Okay,
I
okay,
was
I'm
gonna
going to make
say
sure.
if he does get drafted, I think prime time will be following him very quickly.
I mean, do you think so though? Because
I
I
think
don't.
you don't think they'd give Dion an offensive coordinator position
I don't think he'd want it though.
to do it with his son? I think he would.
No, man, because I believe. Well, here's my thing. First of all, I think his sons will always hit up Pop. So his let's say they go for some unknown reason. Let's say they get drafted. Let's say the Rams draft him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And by the way, yo, Greg, I'm 1000% waiting for next Saturday. I'm actually doing a live watch on with that joint because that joint right there. Oh no, next week is Oregon. Next week is Oregon. I want to see them against Oregon, and then that USC Colorado game. USC getting stomped. They're getting destroyed. They're gonna get mollywopped. All this USC hype is gonna go out the window. Watch, you heard it here first. And I mean it with all due disrespect, because fuck USC. Except for Lincoln Riley, he's cool. Yeah, right. But I will say this. I don't think they'll like Deion is gonna need a position because I think his kids are gonna go to him anyway, or he'll end up texting them or calling them or something like that. I genuinely believe Deion Sanders in his highest form is best on the college level. I think this is where we see the best of him because for a multitude of reasons. First of all, everyone knows the peak of your passion for the game is college. That's where your passion is the highest. Because then you end up getting to the league, and then you're like, okay, cool. Then you get that first contract, and we've seen it. A lot of guys go down for about a year, right? In college, Deion is something else. And he said it before, he
He's
just loves the
definitely
kid.
different.
Like, yo, I'm telling you, bro, like he loves the youngins. But it's because he can talk to them in a way they understand. I think I said this last time we did the show. Have you ever heard Nick Saban, instead of calling him captain, go to say, hey, yo, see this guy here? He's a dog. Ever?
No, it wasn't even just he's a dog. He was like, okay, so him right here, that's my leader.
Yes.
He gonna get everybody in place. But him right here, that's my dog. I just let him go.
Like think of, like what other coaches saying stuff like that? You ever heard Ed Oregon before he got fired? You ever hear him say anything like that? Dabo when he had all that talent clips, you ever heard him saying that? Lincoln Riley, you ever heard him saying that? Urban
And I
Meyer,
won't
Urban Meyer
lie.
said some stuff, but
I be listening to Dion's speeches, and bro, I'm ready to go grab a helmet right damn now. I'm about to go out here over here to Colorado. Like I was ready to go play tonight. Cause I
100%.
took it personal. You talked about that
Facts.
man mama? Talking about how his mama raised him.
Mm.
Your mama taught you how to do this. They ain't got nothing to do with what his mama taught him. His mama taught him how to be great.
Say that one more time, Robert.
Mama taught him how to be great.
Yes, sir.
That's all I know.
People don't understand that.
It, it's
They
it's
don't understand that.
it's an interesting thing when you playing prime time on prime time. You feel
Yes,
me?
sir. See, people think that's a double positive. So guess what? That's more bullets for your dome head, bro. That's what it is, bro. That's
Facts.
what it is. But I'm telling you,
When
bro,
you
like,
got the rock sitting on your sideline,
come on.
that's all I got to
Don't
say.
go nowhere. Kawhi Leonard stay in his house and he in Colorado. Made more effort to get to that game than he did to play a game. Oh my god.
Hey,
Offset popped up.
I believe.
Come on. Come on. Come on now. Look at this. Ugly cheerleaders, bro. But guess what? We'll call them hot because they winning, bro. Because they on a winning team, bro. Oh my days, bro. But that's just me, bro. My bad. Rob, I'm going through it right now. I'm going through it. I'm going through it right now. So don't.
Me too, man. I believe.
But
I'm sorry.
no, you good. Don't even apologize. But last organized topic. Obviously, if y'all got more, feel free to drop it. I don't care. I'll go here all night. I don't give a shit. Pause. The last organized topic that we have. It's a question I want to pose to you, fine, exquisite gentlemen. There's only like 4 snaps that Aaron Rodgers took, and then man tore his Achilles, which I'm gonna keep it a buck. I ain't see coming. Not even gonna lie. It
I
was
don't think
pretty
nobody
shocking.
did.
It was there. Yeah, it was weird. 'Cause I think Mike, we were talking about this earlier. It is weird because that is the most delayed reaction I think I've ever seen for an Achilles injury.
Oh God.
When Hakeem tore his Achilles, he went down. When KD tore his Achilles, he kind of hopped and was like, "Oof!" Right? Every time every time I've ever seen that injury, they go down. It was bizarre because it looked like Aaron Rodgers.
Nobody went worse than, and I know Derrick Rose didn't tear his Achilles, but just the injury that he had, like he immediately went down. But to Aaron Rodgers' credit, I will say Kobe was able to fight through it, make his free throws, and
But
then get away.
the difference was that Kobe, like when he went down, Kobe showed a grimace on his face, and you knew something was wrong. And then he got up and he's limping and all that stuff. And when it came for Aaron Rodgers, it almost looked like he kind of stuck his hands out, like who's gonna pick me up? And then all of a sudden he just stopped and put his hands down, like, huh, that feels weird. I don't think I'm supposed to feel like this.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah,
help. Like
it
it
was.
was bizarre. It was like I said, every time I've ever seen it, they either immediately go down or they start hopping. They give some acknowledgement. Aaron
It is,
Rodgers,
but
you know what I mean?
remember,
Like for
Pride,
Aaron Rodgers, but
what they say though with the Achilles injury is that like remember, okay, so let's take KD situation.
right,
KD kind of didn't immediately go down, and that's when I started to learn how an Achilles feel like because I never went through it. I think Mike Hughes, you went through an injury like that.
That shit
Um,
sucks dick.
yeah, but I've never been through an Achilles. But they always say it feels like somebody's kicked you.
Yep.
yep,
And you'll remember like KD, he looked behind him like, did you kick me in my fucking ankle? You know what I mean?
yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers, not to say he looked as if somebody kicked him, but I think he felt like that, like, oh, I just got hit in the ankle, I'm good. And he stood up and realized, no, I'm
Right.
not good. You know what I mean? Like I can't walk.
Right. And I will say to Aaron's credit, it was funny because Pride and I were talking about this before it. He didn't look like he was in pain, but he wasn't moving. Like he
Yeah.
knew something was weird. Like you saw him just standing there. You know, he wasn't moving to the next yards. He wasn't trying to get back to the play. The man stood still, like the game just stopped. And I was like me and Pride were even talking about it, texting. I was like, what is this man doing right now? And then I was like, and then he just sat down, and I was like, oh, okay. Like that makes like for me, it was I'm running the first base, our conference championship game, and it's a men's league. We're just fucking around, and I get to first, and I'm ready to slap this bald ass first baseman in the back of the head because I feel like someone just kicked me in the back of my leg, and I'm turning around, and I was like, oh, it really hurt. Like I was in pain, and that was the partial tear. That was what I was told later on. So I go back in the outfield. I finished the game until I got hurt towards the end of the game, and it fully tore. That was when I was like, okay, I'm done. But you get to that point, though, in the first part, I was able to play the rest of the game because it was a partial tear. So I don't know the magnitude of what Aaron Rodgers' tear was. You know what I mean? Like, you could still
It was
have
a full blown
surgery.
tear.
If it was a full-blown tear, then yeah, like it
Yeah, it
definitely
was a full blown
makes
tear.
sense. It
Yeah, I
definitely
think it was a full blown tear because like he was able to stand up, but he couldn't walk, which is why he sat
Oh
down.
no. Like
And
I know that because they confirmed it. Like they
but no,
confirmed it was a full
no.
blown
But
tear.
even before they confirmed it, I knew it was an Achilles when I saw them have to cart him. When you get
So
carted
I
and
didn't.
you can't walk because they had to cart, like they mentioned it.
No, but
They didn't show it, but they said he had to get carted to the next tent.
not
Like when he
well. I
came out,
was.
like yeah, okay, go ahead, my bad, Pride. Go ahead.
No, you go. Because I was watching the ESPN one, the one with Peyton and Eli, and
Yeah.
maybe they have since it's them, and to kill some time, they do have like extra angles. I don't know if they showed it to everyone. It might just be like a them thing, but they showed him kind of getting carted. Then something happened with the cart, so he ended up walking, and it's like you see him walking, he's kind of limping. So at
Yeah.
first you don't think there was anything wrong at all, at least from
how
my
the fuck if
perspective.
something happened to the cart? You have one job.
I don't know, bro. The cart was moved, so he had to walk. Then
Hey, this cart
Then
is
they-
for people who are in critical condition and can't walk.
You
Oh yeah,
feel
bro.
me? And you got it messed up.
I forgot to put gas in that thing, bro. I didn't think we needed it.
Oh, he got fired.
like it was crazy because like Like,
over with.
all of a sudden, Adam Schefter started tweeting, they fear it's an Achilles tear. And then when Peyton and Eli heard it, then I think it was like a timeout or something, but it was a quick timeout, so they couldn't go to commercial. So they started looking at different angles of the play. That's when I saw it, because and they had a really good angle where they showed him right before he started scrambling, he planted his right foot and his calf reverberated. For anyone who doesn't know, when your calf does that little horizontal side to side thing and you go down, that is a clear indication of an Achilles tear.
I could just picture what you are describing.
Yes,
oh my God.
Yeah. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the easiest thing, if you can't find the Aaron Rodgers one, look up the Kevin Durant one. It's the exact same thing. And I saw it. And when I saw that,
look up the Klay Thompson one when he dunked it in the Toronto finals, and when he came down and that leg slid forward, I knew it.
You stop talking about that man right now.
At that time, I just thought it was the Achilles. I didn't know it was the ACL and it was everything. Like, his whole leg went kaput.
Yeah, it was Achilles and ACL, dude.
It was everything. But that's what I'm saying. Like, at first I thought it was the ankle. No lie, because remember, his ankle was a little banged up heading into this game. So I thought, okay, that's all it was. It is what it is. But then all of a sudden, like I said, Adam Schefter is like, yo, now they think it's an Achilles situation. And then when Eli and Peyton heard it, they started getting better angles. And when I saw the calf shake like that, I was like, oh, 100%. 100% it was his Achilles. But
I won't lie to y'all either. If you want to know the medical condition of a player, I'm going to actually give this man a shout out. Skip Bayless has some insiders. He has some medical insiders. And when he tweets something, it's usually that case. Like, if he be like, oh, that's that dude's ACL. I've talked to one of my doctor friends. He's usually right. And I'm just giving the man credit. Like, and he first mentioned, he like, that's an Achilles. And I thought the same thing, just because I haven't, like I said, God, thank God, I've never had an Achilles injury, but I've seen enough of them. I've seen enough of them. I know the reaction. When you immediately grab for that ankle, oh, something's wrong.
See, like I said, for me, the only reason why I had I didn't think about it at first was just the fact that he had an ankle issue heading into this game. That's kind of why at first I was like, man, it's probably that same ankle that's bothering him again. That's at least was my mentality. That was my thought process. Then obviously, as more information came out, then obviously, it became clear that it was an Achilles. But this is the question I want to pose. And Mike, let me start with you.
No.
If you are the Jets, because obviously people are talking about just solely this year, how they're looking for a backup quarterback or a new quarterback, or maybe they should go with Zach Wilson, whatever the case may be. What do you do in terms of Aaron Rodgers? I know it's a lot of money, but do you cut bait and move on?
Well, it's guaranteed he got another year, don't he?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's fully guaranteed. So if you want to move on, that's a lot of money. But,
well, I think that answers your question. You move on without moving on. You have to get some type of contingency plan, especially if Zach doesn't perform to what you think he can do. So with Aaron Rodgers being iffy, because honestly, a lot of the writers, the statistics, the stat givers, everybody is saying that they don't think Aaron Rodgers is coming back next year. He's about to be 40 years old, if not already 40 years old.
He did kind of debunk that on Instagram, though. He is very adamant about coming back, and
I want to see him come back. I think the young
on the Pat McAfee show doubted.
I think the young team gave him some energy, man. Like, like he really looked at Garrett. Like, Garrett Wilson reported that when he went down, like, he came to him and was like, "I'm sorry, kid. Like, I'm so sorry." Because Garrett Wilson thought this was about to be the best year of his career, playing with a veteran like Aaron Rodgers.
He's going to win a Super Bowl, man. But I think to that point, though, Rob, here's where I'm at with it. So Pride, assuming, first of all, Rodgers would have to retire because financially they can't cut him, and I don't see anybody trading for Aaron Rodgers after an Achilles tear at 40 years old. getting paid $100 million next year. I mean, that's damn near $100 million. That's the reality. Like the way he financially changed his contract, everybody's forgetting that he took a pay cut this year, added pay to next year. He's going to be making over $75 million next year. That's not even a question. They are fucked. And that's what it is. They were banking on this season.
Hold on to that point real quick, because there's actually one thing I forgot to throw out there.
Go ahead.
He got surgery. Aaron Rodgers did.
Supposedly,
he got this new surgery. This is like, it's brand new. It's a revolutionary type of thing, which they believe he'll be healthy to play football in January.
He's capping. I'm gonna tell you that.
This is what the doctor said too.
No,
I just want to throw that out there. I just want to throw that out there just to make sure I touch all the bases.
I'm gonna.
I apologize. Go ahead, continue.
I'm 14 months into post tearing my Achilles, and when it's cold outside, I still feel that bitch. And it's like, no, bro, it's not happening. There's no shot in hell you take a 12-month recovery and you're back in 4. It's just not happening. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a hater. I don't mean to be a doubter. I saw him on the Pat McAfee show saying, "Hey, doubt me, doubt me." I'm not doubting you, dog. I'm doubting your Achilles. That's it. Like, I'm like, let's be real, bro. This isn't Kyle Schwarber for the Cubs 6 months after an ACL tear, pinch hitting, like, and not even playing in the outfield. This is a quarterback in the NFL with a foot that is not attached to him right now. That's
Dude,
so
we saw how Achilles injuries affected Kobe Bryant. We've seen how Achilles injuries affected Klay Thompson. I mean, right now KD is an anomaly, not just because of KD's physical stature. Like you can't teach height. You can't teach shoot, like the way that he can get over everybody. You can't teach that. Like he's just a 7-footer, so he can compensate for not being the same person who he was. But even in crunch time, we looked at the losses that KD has taken in the playoffs. If this was KD pre-Thunder, I don't know if KD takes those losses, but this is KD post Achilles. So you know what I mean? Like he's not the same. Clay is not the same. Kobe wasn't the same, and eventually the Achilles is what made Kobe retire. So now we're talking about a guy, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, you don't have to use your ankles or feet to the extent that a basketball player has, but you know that you're a quarterback that's known to scramble. You're a quarterback that's known to get out of the pocket and extend plays. You're gonna need your ankles. You're gonna need your feet. You're gonna need your legs. And dude, you having an Achilles injury at the age of 39 is not a good look.
Right. And here's the point though I do want to make, because Pride asked the original question of what's going to happen this season and moving forward. So I think first we have to see how Zach Wilson plays this week, as having that conversation of I went into this week understanding I'm QB1, because I think you're going to see a very different version of him, whether it's good or bad. You know, you can't just go into a game thinking you're on the bench and come in and then, you know, see the best version of you. More times than not, it's just not going to happen. But I will say this. What I would do if I'm the New York Jets, fuck Colin Kaepernick, fuck Nick Foles, respectfully, fuck Tom Brady, fuck Matt Ryan, fuck Nick, all of it. Cam Newton, all of it. I think there's an easy guy that you could acquire right now that, this team that he's on isn't interested in really seeing him play because they're bought into the kid they drafted a year ago.
You're number 2?
Nah, fuck that. Fuck him too. I'm looking at Taylor Heineke right now on the Atlanta Falcons. A 2-year,
damn,
2-year, $14 million deal, $7 million a year for this kind of backup, who, in my opinion, is better than Zach Wilson at this current point in time. As of today, tomorrow he can ball out and show everybody that he learned from Rodgers, and that's great. But if you're concerned about Zach Wilson and you don't want to give up on Aaron, I would go out of the way and I'd say, hey, here's Taylor Heineke. He's kind of that guy who's in the conversation for QB1, but never really takes the reins. I think you can win games with Taylor, with Garrett Wilson, Dalvin Cook, Breece Hall, all these other guys. But I don't know if – not that I don't know. I know that if Aaron Rodgers does come back, Taylor's job is now QB2. So I think that's a safer product. I think you can get him for probably a 3rd, 4th round pick, 5th round pick, maybe even. I don't know. It's not going to be anything crazy. You know what I mean? The contract's not heavy. They obviously believe in Ritter. They want to believe in Ritter, even though 90% of people I know right now, if Ritter was walking down the street next to them, they wouldn't know it was Ritter. But at the end of the day, I think we're all going to have that conversation about who is the best available quarterback for the Jets, and I think it's Taylor Heineke. Tay-Town, baby.
I'll be honest. I'll be 100% honest. I love that.
Thank you, sir.
I love that, to be honest with you. Like, me personally, I was gonna, and I think, Mike, we were touching on this a little bit. I believe, like, if they finish with like a top 7 pick, I would look for a quarterback.
I would,
but like I said, if they really want to rock out with
Sanders' kid, you look at Caleb Williams, you look at all these. If they end up with a number 1 overall pick, you are forced to draft Caleb Williams, whether Rodgers is coming back or not.
Right.
You have to.
That's kind of right. You basically have to.
But think of the position that you put yourself in. I honestly think, like, I get it. Like, the Jets want to win now. You've had a setback, and I think as a Jets fan, you have to just admit that you've had a setback, and you have to ride it out with Zach Wilson, and you have to hope for the best in next year's draft or next year's free agency pool, because the Jets are going to look appealing because they do have a great defense, and they are going to be in a position where if you can talk with Aaron Rodgers and get him to play ball and just say, okay, we'll give you the year. And depending on how you feel after this year, you have to at least give us honesty on if you think you'll be able to come back and beat Aaron Rodgers. If you can't, you either have to retire or relinquish the contract. Like, help us out the way we helped you.
Right.
And I think you have to have that serious conversation.
I think you have
like you're not gonna win anything this year, dude. You're just not. You're not.
I think you're too deep into it right now, Rob. I mean, you've put too much time, too much money into this current roster to say just because Aaron went down that we're not going to try to contend. Like you said, this is still a great defense. Like you said, they still have amazing offensive weapons. And
Is this the 85 Bears?
I'm gonna ask you this.
2001 Ravens.
Hold on.
I want to pose something to you, Rob. I want to bring up last year. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers goes down.
Or
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo went down. Trey Lance is basura. Zach Wilson is basura. Here comes Brock Purdy, basura. And Brock Purdy leads them to the NFC Championship. They lose because he gets injured, and they literally have no other quarterback. They have to bring up fucking Christian McCaffrey at quarterback. But here's my thing I'm going to pose to you. Sure, they drafted Zach Wilson, and they want to see what they have in him. But for the 49ers, hey, I don't care if we drafted Trey Lance or not. We need to win. We'll rock out with Brock. And I think the Jets are in a situation right now to where it's, okay, Aaron's down. Zach is basura. We're going to look at
Brock Purdy is an anomaly.
But he's
an anomaly. He really is.
He is a product of a system. If you watch Brock's game,
I don't want to say that. Brock Purdy got game.
Brock does not have game.
Brock got game.
No, because let's keep it a buck out here. If we're ready to have this conversation, we are. The reason why they wanted to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo is because they found a younger one. That's all Brock Purdy is.
Brock Purdy is
He's not a bum. He's not Trey Lance, but he does just his job is to not mess up. That's his job.
He's doing a damn good job of it.
But here's
and I'm with you, Rob.
Hey, hold on. You want to have a real conversation?
Go ahead.
Tom Brady's first couple of years in the league was to not mess up. We didn't see the Tom Brady that we know and love until later in his career.
And honestly, you accidentally just made my point. Because, listen, can he be something later? Sure. Possibility. He's not that now.
No, he's not. But I'm just saying he's not basura, though.
That's not what I'm saying.
Basura. I'm saying him and Jimmy G are the same. They're both kind of middle of the pack quarterbacks that you can pull out there.
He's better than Jimmy G.
No,
if you want to say he's better than Jimmy G, I think that's a legitimate argument. I'm not gonna argue with you with that.
Here was my thing on it though that I think you're missing. And
okay, my bad, Mike. My bad, Mike Hughes. My bad.
I think the point of that is,
I do that same thing too.
all love Brock for real. Like, I do love Brock and what he does, and that was a point of what I'm trying to say. Is you understand that Trey Lance is trash, right?
Yes.
Like the 49ers understood he was trash. Even if he was healthy, they did not want to rock out with Trey Lance. That was the fact. And I think you have that conversation right now. The team is too good to say, fuck it, we're just going to rock out with Trey Lance, or in this case, Zach Wilson. If Taylor Heineke can be that Brock Purdy for this team, and we've seen Taylor Heineke win games with far less, his only weapon being Terry McLaurin and Ron Rivera's dumbass calling plays over there, and Chase Young's knee hurting. Like, I mean, there's nothing going on over there. And he made big-time plays in big-time moments. Is Taylor Heineke a great quarterback? No. Is he a serviceable quarterback, just like Brock Purdy? And is he a winner who can, with a roster like this, C.J. Uzomah, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson? I mean, let's talk about Lazard and Randall Cobb and all these weapons that they have, Dalvin Cook. With that defense, too, I mean, Pride, what do you think? Do you think they could go to possibly a championship game with a guy like T-Town?
No. But I'm kind of split in between you guys. I'm like the medium of you guys, to be honest, at this point. Because I do get what Rob is saying. There's no option. With Aaron Rodgers, it was going to be tough to win the AFC. It was going to be tough to win with Aaron Rodgers. That's
all I'm saying.
Harder. That being said, though, I get what Mike is saying, because Mike's logic is, hold on now. Last year we were just a quarterback away. We now got that quarterback. If we can get a substitute, plug it in, and let's say be a wild card team, all of a sudden the hope is now revamped, because you're like, hold on, with Taylor Heineke, we made the wild card. Imagine if we had Aaron Rodgers the whole year.
Right.
That could have been, like, you see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. I get where both y'all are coming from. Because
the only reason I would agree with y'all is just because of the conference they in. And I would say right now, I know Miami is tough. And I think Miami is going to be tough. But if you had Aaron Rodgers, I'm not so sure Miami is the clear-cut winner to win the AFC East.
I had him as mine.
I know. I had them in the Jets neck and neck.
Yeah,
because Aaron Rodgers. I know I've said a lot about Aaron Rodgers, and I stand on what I've said. Like, dude, he hasn't shown up.
You still recognize the talent.
He lost to Jimmy G. He lost to the Detroit Lions, and it's okay to lose to Tom Brady. I'm not gonna blame him for losing to Tom Brady, but you lost to Jimmy G, and then you lost to the Lions. Like that was a bad look, and this was like 3 years consecutively.
Right.
And one of the years was after you won the MVP and you begged for home field advantage and you still lost. You know what I mean? So I stand on what I've said about Aaron Rodgers. But I also will say, when it comes to playing the game of football, if you have to have a quarterback and it's Aaron Rodgers, you're not that bad off.
No,
you're not.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Greg's saying the Jets should give Kaepernick a chance. What do they have to lose? I mean, personally,
I have a legit response.
Good.
He hasn't played in 8 years.
8 years. That's a long time not to play the game of football.
I'm gonna give it to you real simple. I'm gonna give it to it real simple, real easy. And this right here, and I love Colin Kaepernick. In the beginning, I was with him.
Right.
But
it's been too long.
You're not playing. You had other options. You chose not to. Deshaun Watson was out for a year and a half?
Yep. And he looks like basura.
And man looks like a shell of himself. 8 years, all due respect to Colin Kaepernick, no shot. And then he also says, go ahead.
If it was like 2017, 2018, even 2019, I'd be like, okay, entertain it.
Right.
But it's 8 years, bro. I was a freshman. I was a sophomore in high school when that happened.
Bro.
That's the last time he played an NFL game. I was a sophomore in high school. I'm a grown-ass man. I got heart problems.
Max, let him know.
But he also says, hold on. This is what people don't really talk about with Kaepernick, too. Even when he was playing football, those last couple of years, he was about Surah.
To be honest.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, he was
all right, though. The stats are all right, but
he was garbage, dude.
I feel like he was okay. He was okay.
Dude,
I feel like
he was definitely on his way out, though. He was like
Alex Smith. He was like Alex Smith. Like it was like Alex Smith right before Pat Mahomes got the job.
I like
But that's what I'm saying. I think where he basically was becoming a bridge quarterback where we'll keep Colin Kaepernick for a couple years
Right.
while we either wait for this young kid to come up
He was
or
in
just
his Teddy Bridgewater phase.
yes. Where he probably would have started being a journeyman type of thing, you know. So,
Hey, this
but
primetime game though, man. 14-14, about to be the half in 5 minutes. It's
Yep.
getting interesting.
yeah, way better than
And
I thought it would be.
Colorado State, they got another first down. I'm just saying. I just said
Hey,
the
bro,
same thing.
chill out. I'm 5 seconds behind, bro. You better.
Shoot,
Oh, my
gentlemen.
bad.
Nah, I'm playing.
Do you gentlemen have time for? You got a little more time in your pockets for me?
I have a lot of time. Tony also said if we wanted to keep going until he comes back, he's eating snackies right now. He's eating some more Krispy Kreme.
Yes,
Colorado
right.
touchdown.
Love to see it.
Hey, this is
All
like
right.
therapeutic though. It's like everything I've been wanting to talk about in sports.
Colorado
Bro,
State touchdown.
who you talking about? Who you telling, bro? I've been needing therapy for a long.
You should have seen the
time.
beginning of the show. Pride said he wanted it. Never mind.
Oh, I said what I said.
Oh,
I
did
stand on it.
Colorado
I
State
stand
just
on it.
score?
I stand on it. I
Pride's
stand
going-
on what I
Pride's
said.
going to it.
I said what I said and I meant it, and I hope and pray that I go to sleep and don't wake up. That is that's tragic. That's
Play erase your social bias.
Hey, Dion better
erase my
go back
life.
in the locker room and tell his team they better take it personal.
100%.
The Colorado State took it personal, Lord Jesus.
But I
Oh,
will
Lord
say
have
that
mercy.
I do think Taylor Heineke to the Jets could be a potential conversation if the Jets are 1-4 in the next 5 weeks.
And I'll be honest with you, I did not think of them. And honestly,
Yeah.
I like that move. It's
not
a move.
It's just a fuck it.
Exactly. Yeah. And what I love the most about that move is what you're saying is, look, we're gonna give him another opportunity. This guy that we have here, there's no threat. Like it's honestly the perfect move because you're making an upgrade from what you have now.
Right.
But you're also still saying, look, we still got faith in this guy. And I think that's the perfect move. I think the only loser here was probably Zach Wilson. But man's been a loser for his entire life.
Bro lost a year ago. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. You feel me? Like, yeah, cool. Yeah, cool. He bangs milks. Whoop-de-doo. I can see that on Pornhub all the time, bro. You're not special.
Though, Pride, I want to bring this out there. I think it's going to create conflict for Zach Wilson starting the rest of this year. I think if he starts the entire year, say he plays average to subsequently well and has that conversation of, hey, maybe I can actually, maybe I could be the starter going into 2024. And then they just say, nope, Rodgers. Like that's going to, you're eventually at some point, he's going to be like, man, I want fucking out of here. You know what I mean? And if you just bring in Taylor Heineke, let that man know, listen, bro, you're just here to win games and you're going to go back to being what you are as soon as Rodgers comes back. Taylor knows. Taylor's cool with it. Taylor doesn't give a fuck. He sat behind Sam Howell. He sat behind Carson Wentz. He's got no problem, bro. Whatever you need me to do. I was just a kid in my math class before I got called in the COVID year. So I'm just happy to be here. And that's a true story.
What I missed? What I missed?
Colorado State touchdown and missed field goal? Question mark?
Wow.
Not missed field goal. Mike Hughes can't see.
No, but I'm talking about, did you see him going to Dion and put his wrist up? He said, I got time today.
Damn, that's crazy. Gentlemen, do you guys have time for a couple more topics here and there?
I have time.
I want to make sure because I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste anybody's time. You know what I mean? I have a question for you. Remember when everyone was saying Damian Lillard to the Heat confirmed? You guys remember that?
Which time?
Hell yeah.
Which time?
The time from long ago.
Oh man, there was like 5 of them. All
facts. And every single time, what happened? Nothing. And I think I was the only motherfucker who was saying that shit too. Be careful. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed. No one wants to listen to me. Okay. Now, Damian Lillard a couple of days ago made it clear. I play hardball now. I'm a grown man. I can play how I want to play. If you don't train me to who I want, I won't play. I will sit out. I swear, he said as he stomped out of the office, into his big rig and was calling for his mom or dad to take him home. I'm taking my ball and going home. I feel like that conversation went. Still love Dame, by the way. That's why I feel like I can make fun of him. I love him. But Rob, let me start with you. It's been forever. Even though Damian Lillard said if I don't get traded to Miami, I won't report to camp. I feel like Kawhi Leonard said the same thing, got traded, gave it the old college try, and then ended up going to not where he wanted to, but where he wanted to when he retconned his life. Because at first he said he wanted to be a Laker. Him and Paul George did the same thing. They want to be a Laker, but then they grew up watching Clippers games. Go figure. Rob, Damian Lillard, does he get traded at all? Does he have to tough it out with Portland?
At least until after All-Star break.
Mm.
I think he's gonna start off the year as a Blazer.
Mm.
I mean, right now there's no offers for him, and you know what? That's a humbling experience. You know, players think they're great, and don't get me wrong, Damian Lillard is great, but are you great for the systems that team are trying to do? And right now, are you worth the risk? Because when you give up that type of money that Damian is asking for, you thinking I'm about to win the ring. You asking for LeBron money, bro. You know, and I don't think there's going to be a team that offers the Portland Trail Blazers what Damian Lillard is asking for because the Blazers are going to want something out of the deal too. We're not just giving up Damian Lillard for nothing.
Right.
That's our bread and butter. That's our ticket. That's the guy we promote when on the commercials and eating hot wings and shit. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. I will say
So,
this, Mike. Obviously, the package that Miami, because right now the only team that actually is offering anything is Miami.
Right.
But even the package that they're offering,
Trash.
it is. It is. When the highlight player is Tyler Hero, spam
super
those in the chat.
trash. Don't just say trash. It's super trash.
Let's be honest, bro. Let's be honest. Like, that's kind of like that is really Portland's issue because it's like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that Tyler Hero's all of a sudden this super duper mega, mega baller. Like, no, settle down, right? But Mike, if you're Damian Lillard, do you sit down and go, man, maybe I played this wrong? Because at some point, you're gonna have to look in the mirror and say, anywhere but here is better.
I think you had those conversations with Jason Tatum. Pardon me, I almost said Jaylen Brown. You had those conversations with Jason Tatum, and he basically told Tatum to fuck off. I mean, Tatum went on record and said, "Hey, I tried." You know what I mean? And me personally, I think that's an amazing fit. I think that's a fit that would help both parties. I think that's a fit that, honestly, after losing Marcus Smart, makes a lot of sense. And if you can somehow get out of that, throw the entire future essentially what happened with the Brooklyn Nets in the 70s and the Celtics just a few years ago. We had those conversations about getting KG and company, and those picks ended up being JB and JT. And you have those conversations and say, what if we just flipped it this time and we tried to win a championship? Dame, Brown, Tatum. I mean, I think that's a beautiful thing. You still have Williams and a couple other guys. I think it'd be really dope. But, I think at the end of the day, he's setting himself up for failure. And having this idea of I need to be with Pat Riley, I need to be with Jimmy Butler, I get it. And it's a great team to want to go to because, I mean, like I said, and Pride and I have disagreed on this before, but Jimmy being able to take Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson to the finals is absolutely crazy. Not once, but twice. You know what I mean? And it's a conversation to where if you put an actual superstar, because I'm not going to give Jimmy that, Jimmy is a playoff guy. Jimmy is a playoff superstar, but in the regular season, that man could give a fuck. That's just a reality. I love Jimmy. He's one of my favorite players. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
Look, when I say that I get killed, because I've been saying that for the past 2-3 years, and I've been getting assassinated.
Hey,
but
man,
you say it, and it's all cool. It's all good in the hood. That's cool.
Hey, man, I didn't kill you. But I think with that is just how I view it and how I see it. Jimmy knows, listen, we're going to get to the playoffs. It doesn't matter how. And It's just what it is. And I think probably you and Rob had these talks. I said, hey, listen, here's a trade. And the money works, everything works. Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris and 2 to 3 first round picks gets you James Harden, Joel Embiid, and Damian Lillard to the 76ers. Why not? Oh, because bro, I want to go to Miami with Bam and Jimmy. I would rather go with James and Joel than Bam and Jimmy. Me personally. I think that spreads out the floor. I think that brings you more to what you want to do. Now, James Harden is a whole different conversation right now, but there's so many different options. I mean, AD and Bron, you can trade Austin Reeves and all these other pieces, and you can make that happen. You know what I mean? You could have Kawhi, Dame, and PG, and they could all sit in the infirmary together. But I think at the end of the day, if big facts, I mean, come on, hey, we all know how their front office looking at them right now. Probably they're looking at them like this. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
But yo, that front office so hot they made the league make that load management rule.
That new rule that just came out the other day that you can rest 2 superstars on the same night. That's
no, they said stars, and then they actually listed what it means to be a star. I love this world, bro.
Get out of here, bro. Like, you haven't qualified to be a star in years, but don't mind me. But it's definitely one of those things that I think, and this is my last point, Dame is shooting himself in the foot because I think Dame's idea is, I just want perfection. I just want my perfect idea of where would make me happy. Brother, you aren't going to give a fuck where you are as long as you're winning. And I think once he starts realizing that, and it's like, bro, like, you're making the money, you're going to be in a position to where a contending team is going to want you. You're going to fall in love to wherever you want to go. Like, let's just be real about that situation. AD wanted to go to Boston. Now he's happy in LA. I mean, it worked out for you. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, bro, you just got to get out of Dodge.
Yeah, look, for me, it really comes to, I said this before. I really did say this, and I meant it. The instant he tried to say Miami or bust, as soon as he said that, in my opinion, he immediately lost. In my opinion, he lost any type of leverage he had. It went completely out the door. Because once that happened,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pratt.
No, go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, especially because there's so many young teams out here that you can go join. Like, could you picture like Damian Lillard joining up with De'Aaron Fox at the Kings, or like?
Oh my God!
It is so many young teams and young organizations that you can go join, that you can still have a valid chance, a better chance that you would have staying at Portland. So I just don't understand why it's Miami or bust. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand it. Like, it should be like, I just want to put myself in a position to be a championship competitor.
Right.
Like, that, at the end of the day, that should be what you go after.
I will give you
and that's kind of and that's the part that I'm like confused with, because the reason why he wants to leave Portland, obviously, is because they can't win. And I'm with you there. Can't win. It's okay for you to ask for a trade when you've given them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and they're selling. I get it, right? Like, they said we're gonna try to build a championship team, and the next day they trade CJ McCollum, who was your best player.
Next day they gave Jeremy Grant a max contract.
A max deal. You give Jeremy Grant a max deal? What?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm with that. Where I think he loses the leverage is, like you said, there are plenty of teams he could have went to that he could have had a championship opportunity.
Offers would have been better too.
Right.
And you know what? I'm gonna say this. This is something nobody's ever talked about. With the way Giannis is pressuring the Milwaukee Bucks organization, you could have got a deal where you got rid of Middleton and got Dame.
Right.
I'm just being real. Like, if Giannis pushed for it, like, it would have happened, because Milwaukee is doing everything in their power to keep Giannis.
To play devil's advocate, though, Rob.
We see Serge Ibaka just left. He went to go play with Germany full time now. He's gonna be playing overseas, so now you clear up a roster spot.
Which is crazy.
We know that Chris Middleton is injury prone, and even though he's gotten a max contract, that's a deal for deal that you can give up. Max
Right.
contract for max contract.
Right. There's
I'm
definitely
just
a level
I'm just
switch.
being
I think
honest.
they would have to put in something else other than Middleton. 'Cause
Yeah, and
I
you
think
can give
Dame is
them
making like
you can give
60.
them a Pat McConnell
Right.
or a Bobby Portis.
Not Bobby. Yes, baby Bobby. But I think at the end of the day, though, I want to pose this question to play devil's advocate. Rob, I want to start with you. With the pieces they've put around Dame now,
Yeah,
if Dame says, fuck it, I'm going to just do what KD did and ball out until I'm traded, do you see Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson, Jeremy Grant, what's that other, Nurkic,
and Anthony
and then
Simons.
obviously you have Simons with Dame? Do you think this team together, if they're healthy, can make the playoffs?
No,
I think they got some young guns. I
they
think
can make the play in.
this is the youngest talent and the most talent I think Dame's ever had on a roster. Now, Pride, no disrespect to CJ, but CJ was really the only factor. You know what I mean? Like, I think
Right.
you have several key pieces here. Shaden, Simons, Scoot. I think you have several players that you could look at, and some veterans in Nurkic and obviously Jeremy Grant and Thibault. They still have Thibault. And I think
Mike Hughes. Mike Hughes. I
I
love you,
think they
brother.
could make an 8th seed.
I love you. I love you, brother. I love you. I love you, brother. But I'm just being real. If we comparing that group of talent to the talent that's out there in the Western Conference right
Come
now,
on.
they don't get past the Kings.
No.
A
They
healthy
don't get
No.
Dame.
they don't get past the Kings, bro.
But
And we
hear
saw
me
that the
out though. Here
Kings,
what I'm
the
trying to say.
the
Dame out
Kings took
there.
even
Dame's
with
out there
Dame,
making Western Conference
even
Finals.
with Dame out there, bro. Because now you gonna ask De'Aaron Fox to raise his level of play, and
Right.
he got the talent around him.
Well, here's my
Now
thing.
I just need you to go crazy, bro. We
But I
gonna take care of everybody else out here. I
right.
just need you to match Dame bucket for bucket.
Mhm.
And if they do get past the Kings, do you think the Blazers are getting past the Warriors? Do you think the Blazers are getting past the Lakers? Do you think the Blazers are getting past the Nuggets? Do
No,
you
but
Can I
even
be
think
honest
here's
here?
my thing. Here's
if
my thing.
Kawhi and Paul George are playing, do you think the Blazers get past the Clippers?
Oh yeah, and if hell
No,
freezes over tomorrow at that
no,
point,
no. At
I'm
that
gonna
point,
close because Pride talks about this all the time. And when we do praise Dame and we talk about what Dame was able to do with CJ, it was literally, I mean, could we name anybody else on that roster other than Dame and CJ when they were going up against OKC? You couldn't. And I think
Yeah, I could.
I could.
really
Nurkic.
trash.
He wasn't trash. Motherfucker was just hurt all the time.
Nurkic was just hurt all the time.
But here's my thing, though, is the point I'm trying to make. I've seen Dame go to the Western Conference Finals before with less. And I think my point in that, I'm not asking.
No, not
I'm not
necessarily.
asking,
No.
though, if
But
they can win a
also
playoff.
at that time the Western Conference was less. At
But
that time
that's
the
the point
Eastern
I'm making, though,
Conference was
Rob.
the
I'm not
powerhouse.
saying
The
can they
Western
win a
Conference
playoff
has
here.
turned back. You saying can they make the playoffs?
Can
I'm
they
telling you, they're gonna make the play in. I'm answering your question. They're not making the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs. If Damian go out right now, and Damian's gonna be an all-star. That's the thing. He's gonna always be an all-star because that's just the type of level of play that he brings to the table.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, with the level of talent right now, even with Chauncey Billups as the head coach, the Portland Trail Blazers are not making the playoffs. They're gonna make the play in, and they're gonna play a team like Minnesota. You can't forget about Utah and the run that they had last year. Them boys are gonna be better.
Right.
Like everybody, look at what Jordan Clarkson. Everybody talk about what the FIBA games and the Olympic games do for the U.S. players. Look what it do for everybody else.
Right.
When Giannis started playing in those games, Giannis came back and became an MVP. Look at what Jordan Clarkson just did. Jordan Clarkson just put 50 on the motherfucking head in the FIBA game.
Then the shooter is still dog shit, but all of a sudden it looks nice in FIBA. Well, let's keep it a buck.
That's
FIBA
what I'm
crazy.
saying. That's
FIBA's
what I'm
crazy.
saying. FIBA
I mean, you
gives
also
you
gotta
the
take into
confidence.
consideration.
You know
You
what?
gotta take into consideration that like some team, like some countries take FIBA over the top series
They
because that's
do.
their only opportunity. Like think about it. FIBA for the last what 5-6 tournaments, the USA hasn't really cared. They cared more about the Olympics. And when they dominate the Olympics, FIBA is kind of their only really real opportunity for them to try to have any credibility. You know what I mean?
Because they know they're not playing the 18.
Right.
You're not playing the A team in FIBA.
Nah, respectfully.
You playing the A team in the Olympics. That's why LeBron stood up and said, "Okay, I hope y'all don't think that's a trend. You think Dylan Brooks gonna score 39 on us in the Olympics? You crazy?
Settle down.
You crazy?"
And he'll have 30. Buddy will have 33
Hey.
attempts because his dumbass likes to jack
Brown
around.
was looking at Dylan Brooks like,
Facts. But I'm gonna
Hey,
say
no,
this when
no.
it comes.
Brown was looking at Dylan Brooks like you poked the bear again. You
Yo,
talking shit again?
I
Didn't I
will say
show you
this.
the first time when you
I will
said you
say
don't respect me until I put 40 on your head and I gave you 20 and 20? You don't respect me. Who? Don't worry. And not only am I coming like Prime, I'm coming with my luggage.
pause.
I'm bringing Steph Curry. I'm bringing KD. I'm bringing Tatum. I'm
Hey, I
bringing
ain't
Booker.
surprised, motherfuckers.
I'm bringing everybody. Look, matter of fact, I'm even bringing Draymond.
Hey, when you get your ass beat at school, so you bring your brothers to school the next day. That's
I
exactly
will
what
say
that is,
this.
bro.
I will say this, man. Like, and I understand Dame wants to go to Miami. If you want to go to Miami, hey, that's fine. I'm not mad at him for wanting to be out because, like I said this before. There are times where you kind of got to be the bad guy when the team is not looking out for you. Because eventually, when
He
you start
waited too
asking
long to be the
questions,
bad
and
guy.
you said what?
I said he waited too long to be the bad guy.
Well, no, not necessarily. I think I'm gonna say this right now. Right now, if they had given up Tyrese Maxey and a couple draft picks, maybe Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris, you're telling me that this Dame right now in Philly won't make noise?
Oh, they'd win a championship. Me
And that,
personally, I think they'd win a championship.
No,
I
I
think that's
think
a legitimate possibility.
I don't think Dane waited too long to be the bad guy. I think that he had
He's
too many
handling it wrong.
distractions. He had too many distractions in between. You gotta look at it. In
No,
between Dane making his rise to fame, he got to see players, before he made his superstardom. He got to see Dirk win a ring with the franchise he started with. And then while he was playing, he got to see Giannis win a ring with the franchise he
Shit, I
started with.
mean, hey
So
Rob, let's take it.
Dame,
Let's talk about
but
your boy
Dame
Curry.
started looking at these players and like, I can win a ring if you're willing to bring me somebody like a Drew Holiday, if you're willing to give somebody like Chris Middleton a supermax, if you're willing to bring in role players like a Jason Terry, a JJ Barea, a Sean Marion. If you're willing to bring in these players like that and put them around me and let me do my thing, I think I could do the same thing. You know what I mean? And I'm not mad at Dame for feeling that way. Dame gave Portland the best years of his life. I think right now Dame has to be at a period where he is selfish, where Dame thinks about Dame.
I mean, but to, I understand him being selfish. I'm with it, but you also can't be too selfish because that's when you become a detriment to yourself.
Right, Miami only is ignorant.
That's where, with all due respect,
No,
that's where
I agree with y'all on that one. Like, you
yeah, you know
can't
what I
just
mean, like
limit your choices to Miami,
Just
bro.
get out
right,
of
and
there, bro. Like,
because my
Just
thing is like
leave.
the reason why I say that stupid was because okay, when he's probably looking at Anthony Davis, Anthony Davis said L.A. or bust, and they ended up going to L.A. Well, the difference was L.A. had pieces they can give up. Miami is a bunch of undrafted players that nobody wants. Nobody really wants. The only person that was of value to anybody was Gabe Vincent, and he took a cheap deal to go to the Lakers. So it's not
Hey,
like he's getting. It's
but
not like
Gabe Vincent was smart though. Gabe Vincent said LeBron needs shooters.
Yep.
hey,
Yep.
hey, if you a shooter right now, if you're looking at LeBron in his latest years, you realize LeBron can still penetrate, pause, and
Pause.
zoom.
LeBron can still get anywhere he wants to in the lane. So you looking at LeBron is not going to go and muscle everybody up because the man is 40 something years old. But LeBron can get down there and pass the ball out, and I'm there wide open, ready for a shot. And Gabe Vincent made a smart decision and going to the Lakers. And I think any shooter right now that wants to go play with LeBron and bring a little recognition to their name should be going to go with the Lakers right now. I think
Yeah.
right now the Lakers are in prime position. You want to be a part of that feel good story. Want to be a part of LeBron's last hurrah, You know what I mean? Like LeBron has showed us something. Like I haven't changed how I felt. I think Jordan is 1, Kobe is 2, LeBron is 3. But I will say this about LeBron: like LeBron is great, and you can't deny that. And the fact that he maintained his greatness for so long, I think he's gonna be great going into next season. Right now, if I'm a player that doesn't have that much notoriety behind my name, I'm going to go play with somebody like LeBron. Like I'm going to go help this man out in the best way I can, get his last hurrah off. Like LeBron is going to be the best player on our team. We know that right now. I know I'm nowhere near LeBron's credentials, but I'm going to go do whatever I can to help get this man the ring. And I just believe, man. Like right now, to me, season aside, I'm always gonna pick the Warriors to win the ring. I got the Warriors as my number 1 choice. Right now, I got the Lakers as my number 2 choice. Like you can't sleep on the Lakers. I don't know if the Phoenix project is gonna work because they're gonna be small as hell, and I don't trust in DeAndre Ayton.
Rob, to that point, if you guys don't mind talking about another random conversation, but
Hey, let's talk, man. We talking right now.
Man, so you talk about the Western Conference, you talk about Phoenix, you're talking about LA. Now we're talking about all these other teams, Portland, whatever. And we're not really talking about Portland, but we're talking about them. You know what I mean? But when we're talking about championship caliber teams and when are you going to start to get to that hump, obviously a team like the Pelicans, they're just waiting on a guy like Zion. But when you have a team like Memphis, I want to pose this to you guys right now with the additions that they made. Marcus Smart, former defensive player of the year, has the finals experience. Derrick Rose, the youngest MVP, is going to be mentoring John Morant. John Morant, a tap on the wrist, a light suspension, going to be back very early in the year. Desmond Bane, Luke Kennard, Jaren Jackson Jr. just won Defensive Player of the Year this year. Steven Adams is fully healthy. How serious are we going to be taking the Memphis Grizzlies come December? What do you guys think? Are they finally at that point to where, hey, man, you got to start making some noise and get to either a conference finals or a championship? You have 2 defensive players of the year. John Morant, I don't know. Pride sleeping. Rob, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I'm gonna just say this. You gotta remember that John Morant is gonna be suspended for the first 25 games of the season for his stupidity. You gotta hope that he has no more stupidity during the season or throughout the rest of his career. And then on top of that, unfortunately, as much as I love Derrick Rose, you are banking your thinking on Derrick Rose being a piece of what he used to be. You're banking your thinking on what you think the Grizzlies can be. Marcus Smart got traded for a reason. I understand that. I don't think that it was the greatest decision for Boston to trade Marcus Smart, but that's just because of what he does.
No, just say it, Rob. It was dumb. Just say it. It was dumb. Just say it. It's okay.
It's just because of what he does for their system. But do I think Marcus Smart is going to be the same Marcus Smart for the Grizzlies? I do not.
Respectfully.
And on top of that, I'm just saying the Grizzlies have not shown us anything, but that they're going to be a team that make the playoffs.
Right.
And I don't see them any differently from that.
And that's where I'm really at with it right now. Like I talked to Pride about it when it happened, and I kind of asked him, and Pride can break it down a lot better than I can about how valuable Marcus Smart is in certain systems. You had that conversation that he's a defensive player of the year when he doesn't have to score. He's a defensive player of the year when JT and JB are next to him and he's got things going on. You know what I mean? But, you have these conversations. As it looks right now, Pride, I know you're memes right now. You're asleep, and that's cool. I'm asleep too, because I'm looking at them and I'm saying you have 2 defensive players of the year in the last 3 years on this roster. You have John Morant, who when he's on the court is supposed to be box office. Desmond Bane, great 3-point shooter. You got rid of Dylan Brooks. You got rid of the motherfucker who was fueling people. We're talking about Colorado State earlier today, Rob, before you got in. Don't unnecessarily fuel people. Dylan Brooks was the king of, I'm going to piss off Steph Curry, I'm going to piss off LeBron, and they're going to drop 40 on my head to my 15. At best, 15. And it's like, when you get rid of that, now you have Luke Kennard, now you have Steven Adams, now you have all these things. you look at that roster and you're like, if this is 2K and you can take away the Ja Morant off the court issues, this should be a roster that can compete with just about anybody. But I think there's so many things that hold them back, and I couldn't tell you what that is outside of Ja Morant. You know what I mean? But
I got plenty. I got plenty that could hold them back.
I just saw an Iowa cheerleader, a male cheerleader whose pants fell.
Yeah, he was doing the flips in the end zone, and his pants actually came off. Yeah, that joint was hilarious.
Yeah, everybody just tweeted me, said, "Did you see the cheerleader whose pants fell off?" And I was like, "Oh, bet I'm trying to see that." And then it was a dude.
Yep, but consequences.
Played myself.
I'm explaining to you why. Not only am I in a coma, not only am I sleeping, I'm like borderline dead with no pulse when it comes to the Grizzlies.
On God, talk to me.
The moves they made did not make them better in the slightest. In the slightest. If anything, they took a step up to the side. That's all they did. That's all they did. Again, and I think it's funny how Rob said you're banking on D-Rose being the same D-Rose of old. When I said that I'm a bad guy, I'm horrible, it's that D-Rose hated me. You guys are coming along, and I told y'all gonna come along one day. And when y'all get here,
bro, I've already known that D Rose is not gonna be the same MVP
I'm just gonna say
that he was
even
next
D Rose
time
knows
last year.
that.
No.
But what I'm saying, my argument with you is you try to act like when D Rose was in them MVP MVP years that he wasn't him.
On God.
Like that's my argument with you.
Respectfully,
like people was scared of that man, bro. Like people used to be like, man, we gotta play Rose and them tomorrow, bro. Come on, G. You know they was.
That right there is why I said it's the same thing I got about Kobe. You desperately rewrite the past, and everyone lets that joint slide. Like you're trying to make it seem like no.
How am I rewriting the past when I'm listening to NBA? I'm listening to NBA players and interviews, podcasts that talk about D Rose and say what I'm saying.
Who are they? Man, talk about Jeff Teague was scared of him. Burr.
It don't matter. Jeff Teague was taking the team to the playoffs, wasn't he?
Listen, because those same
was Jeff Teague taking the Hawks? Wasn't the Hawks the best team in the league one year?
Huh?
For the one time.
They was at least one best team in the East.
Having the best record in the NBA don't always make you the best. Because when the Utah Jazz had the number one record, maybe one person was scared of them. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay, you're right about that. You're right about that.
We had Isaiah Thomas, and he was averaging 30. I'm not done. And really, who was scared of us? Not a single people. Who was Chicago?
Hey, Utah was like the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. You know they're gonna do some Utah shit.
Matter of fact, the AC was drooling. Like, oh yeah, we won him, coach. We won him, coach. Like, and like I said, the Boston Celtics, we were the number one seed when we had Isaiah Thomas. We almost lost to the 18 Chicago Bulls, and the only reason we won was because Rondo got hurt. Because Rondo was giving us the business offensively and defensively.
That's fact.
For the number one seed, gotta have me jump out a window, bro. I'm saying this is my organization. I gotta rock with them.
Side note, on a Mike Hughes life, currently sitting here watching the Chicago Cubs in the 13th inning, 6-5, bottom of the 13th. I want to kill myself. Back to you, Pride, in the studio.
Always great when we get to hear from Mike. Always great. Always phenomenal. Hope things get better for you, buddy. They probably won't, but
I hope the Cubs don't pay their dues the way Jay Ness and the Arizona Diamondbacks are right now. But man,
bro, they were hot and whew.
Oh yeah. Hey, Pride. More breaking news before I give it back to you and Rob in the studio. Drew Smiley is closing out the game after throwing 30 pitches. Still dog water. Still basura. Just almost knocked off somebody's head. We're probably gonna lose this game. Back to you in the studio, Rob.
Love to hear it. Again, that is Michael. You can always count on him to give us the breaking and all things misery that is the Chicago Cubs. Love to see it. Look, man, I'm just going to say this, bro. I'm not going to sit here and act like D-Rose was a bum. I'm not going to, and I'm not. But at the same time, I'm not gonna pretend like this man had the league on lockdown.
Okay, but who are you?
That's not what I'm doing.
No. Wait, but who are you?
Who am I?
Who are you? At
I'm
this
just some dumb
time,
fuck
no.
that's picking his nose.
At this
At
time,
least I was picking my nose and my booger too.
who is Pride of Prideful Takes a fan of at this time in 2011?
Right now?
At that time,
Back then?
a Boston Celtics fan?
Obviously, I loved our big three. And Rondo. You know, I did like our big three with Rondo. Obviously, I was a Bron fanboy. I was rocking with Dirk. I did like D Rose, but I was kind of falling off a little bit on him because I'm like,
They're bringing
he's
in
dope. Don't get it twisted. But let's stop pretending like Mans is him.
No, right.
In terms of the league.
Here's the point of what I'm trying to say right here, right?
Go
Hey,
ahead,
Pride, bro. I love you, bro. But you
Go ahead.
talking real bullshit outside of your mouth right now.
I'm just.
But Pride. Here was the
Go.
point I was trying to make, right? When you had the big
Because
three,
D Rose was him.
arguably a big four, right? When you look at the
Yeah.
Boston Celtics around that time, I look at and I'm not saying D Rose is equivalent to Dame at all, right? But here's how I look at it. A Golden State Warriors fan in 2017 isn't looking at the Portland Trailblazers as a problem only because of Dame, because they have Clay, Curry, KD, Boogie, all these other Iguodala, Draymond Green, all these different problems, right? So as a Boston Celtics fan, of course, a Celtics fan isn't going to be concerned about Derrick Rose because all Derrick Rose has is Carlos Boozer and Luol Deng, and that's just the reality. But you have that conversation, the rest of the league, even Miami was afraid of him. Everybody was afraid of him. Now, a Boston fan, of course, the Warriors,
Bro.
we ain't worried.
No,
He
it's not
almost
my fandom.
single-handedly took out LeBron and Wade.
Who took out LeBron and Wade?
I said he almost did.
Okay, and I almost was born a girl. My dad almost loved me. My girl almost didn't leave me. I almost had kids that loved me.
This got personal.
Your kids love you. Your kids love
almost foolishness. Yo, Mike. He almost did it, but lost at 6. Question fucking mark.
Cubs almost won this game, but then they put in Hayden Westminster.
Can I tell you something? Pride,
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
The hate out your heart, bro.
Look, there's no hate. I don't hate Derrick Rose. I don't hate Derrick Rose. I think this is my problem. I think this is the problem that I have when it comes
but you
to
the same dude that says Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is them?
You say the same thing.
I never said they them.
Yes, they're him in terms of what they bring to the organization. Now, does anyone genuinely scared of Jaylen Brown? Not necessarily.
I'm gonna be real with you, bro. I'm not gonna say this about Jason Tatum because I rock with Jason Tatum. But if I'm in like a draft pick right now, and I gotta take Jaylen Brown or Derrick Rose, I'm taking Derrick Rose. I'm just being real with you.
Right now?
Right now.
And that's called delusion. You think, Mike, this is my point. No, this is my point.
Prime for prime. Prime for prime. If D Rose in his prime and Jaylen Brown in his prime, I am going to take D Rose prime over Jaylen Brown prime any day, any time.
I can't be when Jaylen Brown as a secondary
guy. I'm not gonna
say
that about Jason Tatum. I'm not gonna say that about Jason Tatum.
Jaylen Brown as the secondary guy is putting stats that are rivaling, if not better, than Derrick Rose.
Bro,
let's keep it a beat out here, man.
Jaylen Brown. You want to keep it a beat? You want to keep it a beat? You want to keep it a beat? Jaylen Brown gets those stats because he's standing next to Jason Tatum. Let's keep it a beat.
That's probably the reality of it. That's probably the reality of it. Until when Jason, hold on. There are times
Rose open it up for everybody.
As I was saying,
Jaylen Brown gets those stats because he's standing next to the guy that's the guy.
And they put their best defender. He got Drew Holiday breathing on his neck. And when it's not Drew Holiday, it's Giannis. I'm just saying.
Let's just go to the next subject. I don't even want to talk about it no more.
No, see, Mike, this is my point. That's my point. When people go, oh yeah, D Rose is prime. Man, never had a prime. What are we doing?
What do you mean he ain't never had a prime? Did Jaylen Brown ever win an MVP?
He
Was
got
Jalen
hurt.
Brown the MVP of
Oh my!
anything?
See again. You're now you're
He wasn't
confusing
the
something.
MVP of anything. What do you
Are
mean
you
he
done?
never had a
Are you
prime?
done or are you
That
done?
man won the MVP of the regular season. That sounds prime to
That
me.
doesn't mean he's in his prime. If Luka
Hey,
Doncic won the MVP last year, is he in his prime?
but he didn't. If was a
No,
fifth,
I'm
everybody would
asking you
be
a
drunk.
question. No, stop.
If
I'm
F was
asking
the
you a
fifth,
question.
everybody
No,
would be drunk.
you're trying to weasel your
No,
way
that's what
out,
you
and it's
just
not
told
gonna
me,
work.
right? That's what you
If
just
he
told me,
won,
right? That's
if
what
he
you just
won
told
the
me, right?
MVP
You just
last
told
year,
me what
if he
if
won
your
the
dad
MVP
your
last
dad
year,
loves you,
does
right?
that mean he's in
That's
his
that what you
prime?
just
Yes or
told
no?
me? What
Stop
if your
being scared
dad
of the
loves you,
question.
right?
Stop
What
being
if
scared
your
of the
wife
question.
never left you? What if your
Stop
kids
being
loved
scared of
you?
the question.
That's what
You're
you just
scared of the
told me.
question
I'm
because
just
you know
using
you're
your
wrong.
same logic,
You're
bro.
scared of the question because you know you're
I'm
wrong.
using
A dude
your
winning
same logic.
MVP does not mean he's in his prime.
What you
You
mean?
know better than that. You
Derrick
know
Rose
better
is
than
better
that.
than 95% in the NBA when he won his MVP.
I don't know
Can
about
we
all that.
agree? Can we agree on
I don't know
that?
about all that. I
All
don't know
right,
about all
then.
that.
Now
I don't
you
know about all
tripping.
that.
Now you tripping,
if
bro.
you want an
Now you tripping, bro.
if you want
He
an
was
MVP,
better than
you're not even in your
95% of the
prime.
league, bro. You tripping, bro. What are you
That's
talking
okay,
about?
bro. So
You
anyway, as
don't
I said,
win
bro,
the
so don't interrupt
MVP
it.
if you're not in
That's
your
my
prime,
point.
bro.
I don't
You
get it twisted,
tripping,
Mike.
bro.
I want to give the man his flowers. I do. I want to give the man his flowers.
What
But
in the
I'm not going to be an
haberdashery hemoglobin is
and
going on
pretend
here?
that the man, when he did his MVP year, I'm not going to pretend that was him before and that was him after. The man was playing at an excellent level for 2 years.
You say
Then
excellent?
injuries
Did you
hit,
say
and the
excellent?
man was never the same.
Did you
Ever.
say excellent? No, he was playing that God mode. What are you talking about?
We'll call it whatever. To appease you and make you feel better, he was playing God mode. Fine, whatever. For 2 years, he was doing that.
That
Then
sound
the
like
man got
prime to
hurt.
me.
Then
That
the man.
sound like
That's
prime.
not.
Hey, pride. That sound like prime.
It's not though. It's not. It's not.
So what do you consider prime?
You're shitting me, right? You're shitting.
What
There's
do,
no
what do,
way you're
what do,
using
what do,
ask that,
what do, what
bro.
do, what do you consider prime?
Your age. Your literal prime is your age, and when you're at the peak of your physical powers.
So you don't think Derrick Rose is at the peak of his physical powers?
I think, for me
You
personally, I
tripping, bro.
think there's two.
I
You
get what
tripping, bro.
No,
So me
you got.
personally, and me just from
That's
my
insane.
perspective, I
That's
think
wild to me.
there's two different versions of what a prime
Kyrie's
is.
still in his prime, I guess, right? KD's in
Uh,
his prime. Braun is still in his prime, right?
No.
Why? Why?
KD is not in his
Why?
prime no more.
Why? But they were both in
KD
the MVP
prime
conversation.
KD prime was with the Thunder. KD prime wasn't even with the Warriors. He got that as a product of Steph being around him. His
How?
prime was with
Almost as if.
the Thunder.
Almost as,
I do this. Hey, Pride,
so
I do
you're
this
telling me.
basketball shit, Pride. I do
You're
this
telling me.
basketball shit, Pride.
But you can't say that and not
I
know what
do this
prime is.
basketball shit, Pride.
But Rob, you can't tell me that and not know what prime is.
so I
I
think
know what prime is. KD with the Thunder was in his prime. When he won his MVP and he was in them years, when he was taking that weak ass Thunder team to the finals, he was in
So
his prime. And when he
okay,
went to the Warriors, he was no longer in his prime. When KD got to playing around other motherfuckers that
oh
got
my
game,
gosh,
he lost
Rob.
his game, nigga. And only reason he won with the Warriors is because they some winners. He got to play around some other motherfuckers that had game. With Kyrie Irving and James Harden, he wasn't him no more.
That's not what I'm saying, bro. So rules and interruptions. So
KD
by your
ain't been,
logic, Jason Tatum is not
bro.
in his prime, right? Because he never won MVP, so he's not in his prime, right?
No, I'm not. You don't have to win MVP to be in your prime.
You just said that about D Rose. You literally just said that about D
No,
Rose.
what I said about D Rose is he happened to win the MVP while he was in his prime. He was at his peak at that year, and like during them years when he won the MVP, that was his prime years. I'm not saying the MVP was because of his prime years. I'm saying that he happened to win the MVP in his prime years.
so. I
That
think
was his prime years. Before he lost his Achilles, bro, the league was scared of that man.
I
They
think
were scared of him.
the
And I don't care
conversation.
what you talk about, Pride. I watched interviews of players talk about they scared of Derrick Rose, bro. I watched it.
You got it.
People had to go to sleep,
You
bro.
got it.
When you seen D Rose pop up on your calendar, bro, you like I gotta go to
Got it.
sleep at 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
Got it.
Cause he
I think-
finna give us this work tomorrow, bro. You know
got
it,
it.
Pride. You know
No,
it, Pride.
Well,
Bro, he
I can't say
almost
no because then if I
single-handedly
say no, I don't know what I'm talking
destroyed
about.
He almost destroyed the Celtics, bro.
Oh,
You lucky he had Ronnie Brewer as his running mate, Keith Bogans as his running mate. Come on, bro. Y'all had a whole motherfucking whip, and y'all still had trouble with that young boy. Don't tell me nothing, bro. I watch basketball. I do this basketball
that's
shit.
fine. You can watch it at Kingdom Come. You can watch it at Kingdom Come, buddy.
I do it, bro. Like, bro. Let's really talk. We can talk teams.
I can't help you. I can't
Bro,
help you.
you had a whole whip, bro. You had KG, Ray Allen, Rondo, Paul Pierce, Eddie House. Y'all had a whole whip, and you still had trouble against that young boy.
I can't help you.
The only reason the Bulls had a chance, the only reason the Bulls had a chance in that series is because KG was injured, bro. I really do basketball, bro. If y'all had y'all full big three, you would have demolished the Bulls, bro. Y'all would have demolished the Bulls. The only reason the Bulls had a chance is because KG was injured. And I'm being real, bro. That's how you know I do this basketball shit. I'm being real. If KG was there, the Bulls had no chance.
You're avoiding the point. Man was 23, but that was his prime.
Yes.
Because he injured it when he was age 23.
Hey, just go watch a D Rose highlight, bro, and then come back and talk to me. Go watch a D Rose highlight, bro, and come talk to me, man.
I speak like this on Derrick Rose. I try to give him his flowers, but when you say, yeah, the man got hurt before his prime, it was unfortunate, but it is what it is. No, he was in his prime. He was in his prime. He was in his prime because he won an MVP. But then when you start saying, oh, is this guy not in his prime?
Bro,
he's not
he
MVP?
was in his prime. So the way that his game was at that time, bro, he was at peak speed, peak athleticism. He could jump over everybody. He could hang in the air. His game was built on athleticism, which is why he's had a hard time translating his game after the injury. Because when you're quicker than everybody and you can jump higher than everybody, your game comes easier. When you have to adapt, now you have to use your mind. Now I have to get to the spot quicker than you can get to that spot. That's why he's had a hard time translating his game after the injury, Brian. Let's talk real basketball, bro. Let's talk real basketball, bro. This is why people go to people like Jason Kidd and they look at highlight tapes of Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan who had to adapt their game when they no longer had the athleticism, bro. That's why Jason Kidd had to become a three-point shooter. Jason Kidd was not known for three-point shooting, but when he lost that first step, when he couldn't get to the rim quicker than you, he had to figure out a way to get his game where he could still be add contribution to the league. Derrick Rose had to find that out for himself. When he no longer could beat you to the spot because of the injury to his motherfucking MCL, he had to learn how to do something else different. But before that injury, bro, when he had that step on you, when he can get to the rim and jump higher than you and hang in the air for 5 seconds, when you can only hang in the air for 2 seconds, yeah, that motherfucker was in his prime. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about?
I think a big thing for me is
Lord Jesus, you have to break down everything for everybody.
It's crazy.
You have to break it down for everybody, Lord Jesus.
No, it's crazy for me because the inconsistency is what honestly makes me laugh. Because at 22 years old, you claim that's his prime, yet Luka at 24 is scaring the league, yet has not been in his prime.
Can Luka do what Derrick Rose can do? Can Luka do what Derrick Rose can do? Can Luka do what Derrick Rose can do? Is Luka still learning his game? Because at the point I'm talking about, Derrick Rose knew what he could do. That's why he won the MVP. I'm not saying his MVP years was his prime. I'm saying he won the MVP because he was in his prime years, bro. That's why they voted him over LeBron. Do you think they would have voted him over LeBron if he wasn't him? Are you crazy, bro? Do you remember who he was playing in the league against when he won MVP, bro? Come on, Pride. Let's talk basketball, Pride. Let your feelings go. Get that hate out your heart, bro. Let it out your heart, Lord Jesus.
No, you lose
I'm a perfect Pride. Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus, we come to you today, Lord. We come to you today, Lord. We come to you.
It makes no sense at all whatsoever. None at all. Because it makes zero sense. Because he's supposedly in his prime at 22 years of age. I've never heard that before. Mike, have you?
Listen. Here's where I'm at.
Exactly. You're gonna duck the question because you know I'm right.
Hate the hate out that
that's
man
not-
heart,
what it is.
and in your name we pray.
No, like here's where I'm at with it. Like as an athlete and understanding where you need to be in your prime, athletically as a man and as an athlete. You don't enter, at least for a man. I don't know for women what the age is, but as a man, you are at your physical peak at a certain age, and that is viewed as your prime. And I think that is the conversation where pride. I think there's a disconnect in what everybody's talking about here. So here's how I see it. I listen to both sides. I listen to. Hold on. I don't want nobody talking. I sat quietly. But
you got the juice. You're right. You got the juice.
I think I heard what you said, Pride, and Rob. To his point, I do believe that your prime is around the age of 27. That is a physical man's prime to where he can lift the most. He is the fastest, the strongest, the most competent, the most understanding of the things going around him. That is when you're supposed to enter your prime and be the best version of you possible. Now, for Derrick Rose, the conversation is different when you talk about their careers. Because Derrick Rose necessarily, because here's the two sides of it. And Pride, let me know if I'm tweaking when I'm done here.
Mhm.
Because his prime was his MVP year, but that was because of everything that happened after. It wasn't because he was physically or talently at his best that season. It ended up being that way because he didn't finish what he started because of his ACL, because of his MCL and his meniscus and everything else. But we even talked about that, Rob, with me and you, prior to him tearing his ACL against the Philadelphia 76ers. Derrick Rose was working on shooting threes. You mentioned Jason Kidd, and I think that version of Derrick Rose we never got to see. A guy who can jump out the gym, a guy who can shoot threes, a guy who can play elite defense, a guy who can continue to get to that next level. Now, at the age of 22, I'm not going to sit here and say that that was his peak of where he could have been. I think he could have continued that and been even better. Statistically speaking, Derrick would have gotten better. I think there isn't a question in my mind that he would have continued to get better as the players around him, Jimmy Butler, Joakim Noah and company, would have continued to emerge. He would have got better and better and better. Now, Pride, that's where I agree with you. I do agree that that's not his prime if he doesn't get injured. I think Derrick would have been better later on, and I think he would have had another MVP season or something close to it because him working on his three-point shooting, because of him working as a facilitator, because of him getting better teammates around him, it would have gotten better. But to Rob's point, when you look at his entire career and his entire body of work that's still not finished, but never going to be as good as it was in the 2011 season, that is viewed as Derrick Rose's prime because that was the prime in his career. That was the highest peak of what his career was. So I think you both have two different ideas of what you're viewing as.
I agree with you, Mike. That's facts.
I don't think
that's
either
fact.
are wrong.
That's facts. Okay, Pride. Maybe that's our disconnect, Pride.
But that's
I think
what I'm
Mike
saying.
got
like,
a point.
Prime,
that's our disconnect.
Prime and peak are two completely different things.
Right.
Okay, well, I'm looking at the peak of his career.
You're looking at the peak because the peak
okay, I got you.
The peak is basically the word that the basketball community made. Where we can look at guys like Derrick Rose, who never hit his prime. And every time you have, we got to see how they were in their prime.
Right.
It's unfair to guys like Derrick Rose, Greg Oden, Brandon Royce. It's hard. Vince Carter. It's hard to say.
Let's talk about Zion. I mean, I haven't even been able to see.
But let's stop saying that though. Let's stop saying that though, bro. Because at the peak of their careers, Zion, Greg Oden, Brandon Roy, they wasn't like D Rose, bro.
No,
I think that's where the disconnect comes with me, bro. And that's when I start using the word prime because.
But here's the thing: when you're injured, when you had a lot of injuries, and more specifically when you're injured through your prime, I can't say prime. I can't because you've never had a prime. You've never been there because of the injuries. It's unfortunate, but that's why I call it peak. It's like the same thing. Bron and MJ had primes. They had primes. Now you can go into who you think had the better prime between them two. Now you can go into it. Now, when I'm talking about a guy like a Vince Carter, when I'm talking to about a guy like that, I can't say prime because in his best years, Mans was hurt. That's why I gotta switch it to peak.
Right.
I gotta say peak because he either A, like in the case of a Derrick Rose, never hit his prime. It's unfortunate. It's injuries, but unfortunately, it's the reality. So
Right.
I say peak when I'm talking to guys like that because now I can go, all right, your peak. Now I can look at your best. When were you at your highest powers? When
Like
were you at the top of the
Zion's
mountain?
peak, unfortunately, hasn't even really been
He ain't got
seen
one
because
yet.
we haven't seen a full season.
Yeah,
Like,
respectfully, he ain't got one.
especially
He
like I
ain't got
can't
one.
even give that man a peak. But Rob, I
Nah.
do agree. I do think like to Pride's point, like there is a level of Derrick Rose that the world was cheated of. An Odin, a Zion Williamson, and Zion is it's still early. You know what I mean? A guy who's under 25. It's still there's still
Yeah, I think Zion gonna come back and have a pretty decent
but
year
I've
this
been
year.
thinking that a long
I hope
time. You know
so.
what I mean? Like it's getting to that
Yeah, I mean,
point to
don't get
where
it
it's
twisted.
like
He's got enough time, but I think we were talking about this like
He
when
been
the
working
first came
out. He
out.
been working out this year as long as he can
I
stay.
said that last year though, and the year before
You know
that.
what?
Yeah.
Zion just can't eat like me. He can't eat like me.
I think it's worse than that, bro. I think it's just a body thing. No, I
He
just think
can't.
his body.
You know what
He
it looks
reminds me
like?
of he reminds me of Derek in so many ways. He really does
Mhm.
because his body, even though he's 10 times bigger the guy than
But
Derek
it's the
was,
torque. It's the torque that he put on his
it
body.
just can't sustain the amount of
Yeah,
force and speed that's coming, the acceleration that's coming with the way he's coming down. And I think
yeah.
that's my big thing right now with what Pride's saying is like peak is the perfect word for it because I do believe, I truly, I'm not even trying to be a dick rider here. I'm not trying to be on Derek's meat like that. But if he became a good 3-point shooter, which we were seeing him slowly evolve into being, I think you're looking at a guy who, if he were fully healthy, getting to the age of 26, 27, where he's going to be the fastest, he's going to be the strongest he's ever going to be on this earth in this life. That's a scary thought because at 22 he was an MVP and he wasn't in his prime. So I'm curious to see what that could have potentially been. Now at his peak for sure, and if you want to say that's the prime of his career, 100%. But I think that was really where the big disconnect was with you guys, and I definitely think I see both sides, and I definitely think Derek gets his flowers. You know, he gets his roses, but um, at the end of the day, you
I'm
know,
sorry,
it is what it
Pride,
is.
man. It's just that when it comes to Derrick Rose, I take that personal. You know what I mean? And
But
that's
that's
just
also like
that's for
the
me. That's for
genesis.
me. Not only that's not for me only being a Chicago native, but actually being in tune with the streets and understanding through the hooping scene. You know what I mean? Like me and Mike was just talking. You know what I'm saying? We might have an opportunity to do something big on the Chicago high school basketball scene with him meeting Tim Flowers and me already knowing who Tim Flowers is, being a big time Simeon player, playing with D Rose in those years and me getting a chance to see D Rose in high school when he played for Beasley and things like that. Like I understand, like we saw D Rose and was like, bro, gonna make it. Like he is him. Like you should have seen. He was packing out the United Center in high school, bro. Like that's how real he is. Like, and that's how much love the city got for him. So I don't mean to argue with you or sound aggressive. You know what I mean? It just
No, it's fine. I love the aggression.
when
I
it
love it.
come to D Rose, man,
Probably
that's
gets off
just
on that shit.
that's somebody
100%.
who we protect, bro. We protect ours, and he
Right.
really
Like Pride,
ours.
for to make it make sense, bro. There's certain guys who get that pass. And you know, Pride was giving me a lot of shit throughout the year when we picked up Patrick Beverly and I never hoed him once for it because we don't claim Pat. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Yeah, y'all don't really claim it. Like, you'll be like,
but
yeah, he's from here, I guess, because we kind of got
Derek
to
is
say
the
that because you
one,
could Google
bro.
it.
Derek is the guy who's like, nah, bro, that's love, bro. That's the dude.
But here,
Like,
but this kind of goes to my thing. That's why it's hard to talk about Derrick Rose because if you criticize him, he gets the same protection as Kobe gets. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Well, to a
Like,
Chicago guy,
oh yeah. But
yeah, the
my
rest
thing
of
is,
the
to a
like,
world, I would say,
Chicago
doesn't
guy.
really give
for
a
example, like when you talk about D Rose, like you can't really criticize him because then you're labeled as a hater. Same thing, like for example with Kobe, you can go ahead and worship the fact that he's got 5 rings. You're not allowed to talk about the 3-1 lead that he blew. You're not allowed to talk how he shrank against that series against Detroit. You're not allowed to talk about those things. And it's the same thing. That's kind of why it's hard for me to talk about Derrick Rose because it's like when I talk about him, am I being harsh? Sure, but life was harsh on Buddy. Like in
I
terms of
get, I get,
basketball,
I
you know
get,
what I
I
mean?
get harsh. I get harsh, and like I said, sometimes you gotta sit back there and take it because you like, yeah, he got a point. But then it just sometimes, even though the person might be telling the truth, You just
No,
ain't
it
trying to hear
hurts.
that shit.
It hurts. No, it hurts. It hurts. Trust me. Listen. I was the same about Paul Pierce for a minute. I was the same. About Paul Pierce. When Draymond, I'm gonna tell you this. I hate Draymond because he told Paul Pierce they'll love you like they did Kobe. That's why I hate Draymond. That's my villain origin story with that.
He ain't
That's why I
lie
hate
though.
Draymond.
He ain't lie though.
So I mean, all right, now I can say, yeah, you're right. You feel me? Like if like, yeah, he a Hall of Famer, but you not the guys that build it around. You're just the guys that
Yeah,
build like
yeah.
say, yo, watch your mouth, donkey. I got hot. I was screaming at my TV, yo, you a bitch. I swear to God, I was calling that. I was home.
Hey, I know how you feel, bro. Cause like, hey, you should have saw how I was screaming when Derrick Rose scored that 51 for Minnesota. I was like, take that, motherfuckers! Y'all talking about these trash. Bro just gave y'all 51, and he ain't nowhere near 100%.
Man started crying,
Bro,
and I
I
was
started
like,
Bro,
crying, bro.
I almost started crying, bro. I was
yeah,
right there with him,
I
like,
was, bro.
Lord Jesus.
it was just
Halloween
crazy.
night, bro.
It was just
2018.
crazy because like I didn't even really see him cry like that since he
Oh,
got the MVP award. Like even when he got injured, granted, it's not like they publicized it or whatever. But even when he was going through the injury stuff, you ain't really see him cry like that.
Nah,
Like
man. You
he
know
kind of
what?
had that stoic face. It's a possibility he was crying behind the scenes because to be honest, if I was in this situation, I'll be crying every day because it's like, damn, especially the fact that like when he came back, it happened again. Like I've been bawling my eyes out. But it's like that was the first time since he got his MVP that Buddy was just like, man, I don't care about the cameras. I don't care about none of that. Y'all can call me a bitch if y'all want. Y'all ain't gonna fight me.
how the fuck is Dion
Man was
only
really
running
like,
screen passes right
and I
now,
think
bro?
that's why he was. I think it was just like everything. Like in my opinion, I believe he held everything in the entire time. Obviously, he was
Yeah.
frustrated, but in terms of
Oh,
like the
he's an
tears and
introvert,
everything,
bro. He's an introvert at heart, man. I
yeah.
mean,
And
he doesn't speak. He just had an amazing podcast that came out not too long ago. Rob actually sent it to me, where he actually talks about shit and he actually opens up. It's like a barbershop type interview.
Oh,
mm,
yeah. That was when he was with Mav Hoffa.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
amazing, bro. I mean, you really got the real version of him. I got a chance to read his book last year. You remember when I was still in school
he got a
and
book.
yeah, I read his book. And his book is absolutely incredible. He breaks down things for what it is. You hear so many stories about like what the real him was feeling at that time, not what the media was construing, and being real, bro. Like Chicago's fake. Chicago's fake as fuck with Derek because I remember there was a time, and there's individuals like Rob, there's individuals who always rode with him and didn't fall off, but motherfuckers were hating on him at one point. Everybody was starting to wish he was out of town, and that's just the reality. And now everybody loves him. Now everybody talks about how much we cherish him once he's
Yeah,
gone.
man.
But
Like
people,
we never forgot about him, and that's because to people from the street, bro. And not saying I'm like the streetest dude out here, bro. What I'm saying is, man, people understand the struggle, bro. Born in the hood, bro. We looked at people like Derrick Rose, bro, as like a beacon. It was like, okay, I can follow that light and we can make it. Maybe not in basketball and what he's doing, but what I'm knowing is if I'm good at what I do and I show the consistency and the hard work, you can make it, bro. And like that's why people from where we from, you know what I'm saying? Even Mike
Right.
Hughes can attest to it, man. Like when you come from Chicago, bro, this the gutter. No matter what side of Chicago you from, you could be from the
Right.
nicest part of Chicago and it's still the gutter
gas still
because
$6.
cause still, shit still go on down here, bro. Wherever you go, and I'm pretty sure everybody can attest to that in every hood they from. That's why I tell everybody, Chicago is just more vilified and more nationalized with what's going on out here. But if you look on what's going on in every hood is the same. You got your places where you can go, you got your places where you can't go. And man, he's just a
What the fuck?
testament of if you can bypass the BS that's going on out here to stay focused on your goal and with a little luck, you can get to where you got to get to, bro. But
Right.
it's gonna be more work than luck. You
But
got to put more work in than luck because you don't make it into the NBA without work.
with
And he
that,
didn't
there are
just
also
make
some
it to
hating
the
assholes,
NBA.
Prime.
Oh no, it's some hating
Hey,
motherfuckers
that was
for
the
real.
point I was making. Rob, that was a beautiful speech. That was a beautiful speech, but I had motherfuckers looking at Derek like this, Pride. Like, hey,
He's
bro,
still here.
people weren't fucking with him no more, bro. And that's really, they love you till they don't, bro. And it's a beautiful thing. I always say this, it's that Kevin. Wow, that was a horrible kick, but
Nah, that was facts though. That
that
was
was
fact.
that was awful. But I heard the Joker say it in The Dark Knight Rises, and they painted that as Russell Westbrook, and they did a voiceover with it, and they said, they love you when you're great, but they love you even more when they could paint you as a villain. And that's not exactly what the quote is, but it's
It's
definitely
close enough.
it was close enough. Whatever, fuck it,
Yeah.
sue me. But for copyright reasons, I couldn't give the real quote, and also because I
There it
didn't go
is.
to college. But I think the reality of that is they love to hate you, bro. Everybody love, especially in this city. They love to prey on your downfall, man. When they paint you as the villain, oh my god! I mean, it's the biggest thing, and we've seen it time and time again. And Derek started to feel that, and now you start to see people who are aging and getting older, and as time goes on, you start to realize, man, like that kid gave you his heart, that kid gave you his body, his mind, his everything, and you start to see it from a different light. But man, bro, like people were hating on that man so heavy, even in his own city. Like they don't want to see. Remember, I told you earlier, it's like crabs in a barrel, bro. Like everyone's trying to get out, and when one person starts getting out, they drag you back down. And that's what they started doing with Derek until he went to New York and kind of just found his way in Minnesota. But that's crazy, bro. It really is. Because I'm sure in Boston it's the same exact way. But yeah, it's just one of those things, bro. Where
Oh man, they hated on Paul Pierce in Boston until bro got the big three.
No. Believe it or not, we actually didn't hate him that much. See, Boston's
Man,
weird.
from what I understood,
You
people
understood
were
wrong.
hating on that man.
No.
That's the
Because
truth.
well, I wouldn't say we hated him. That being said, when he came to us, we did treat him how we would treat everybody else. We would boo him and all that stuff. You know what I mean? But
So
like,
Pride was
but,
like, we didn't hate him,
no, we didn't hate him
but
like that.
we
But
definitely
it was
spit
we
kind of
on
like,
him.
kind
hey,
of
Hey,
hated him.
Pride
Hey,
said
did you heard what he said like this?
Listen,
It's like we
we're
kind of
not.
hated him.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you the best scenario. We didn't spit on
Pride
him.
said this for real.
Like,
Pride looked at him
oh
like
God, this
this,
is
but he
yeah.
also looked at everybody else like that.
No, I'm gonna tell you what it was. We never spit on him, but we did have water bottles and kind of throw the water at him a little bit and pretend we did. That's
Right.
how we did, right? And he relished that. Like Paul Pierce was the type of dude where, like, if I'm playing against you, I want you to give me that hate. Like him and KG is a lot alike. We're like, we're to everything. If you don't hate me, I'll say fuck this place. I don't care if I played here. What my mother? Fuck y'all, bro. That's how he felt. But like,
No, y'all was like
as
super excited when y'all got KG.
oh, we
I
was
was like,
excited like crazy. But
I was
like the
excited
thing
for
with Paul
y'all. I ain't
Pierce
gonna
is
lie
like, yeah,
to
we
you.
booed him. When he started getting towards the end of his career, we were like, all right, we're running out of time to see him. Let's, now let's properly give him his
You
love.
know what?
And then
You know
that's,
what?
you know what I
Paul
mean?
Pierce was out of pocket. Paul when he started wanting the Kobe treatment, it's like, nah, bro. Now you
I mean,
asking for
I'll
you
be
kind of
honest.
asking for
I
too
think he
much.
kind of did deserve it though, because he listen,
The Kobe treatment,
he's a
bro.
first
Come
ballot
on,
Hall of
Brad.
Famer.
Come on, Brad. Come on, no.
I mean, but I
Like
mean,
if him and Kobe was on the ballot, who you gonna choose first?
Paul Pierce easily. But then again, I'm biased, so you can't ask me that question. I'm biased. I'm biased. Like if you tell me, I'm be honest. If you tell me I had to pick between
Oh man.
Paul Pierce and Shaq, I'm
You
picking.
know
The
what?
only person I'm
You
picking
know
over Paul
what
Pierce
though?
is Braun. That's the only dude I'm picking over Paul
You
Pierce. But
know
again, I'm
what
biased.
though? I
I'm
expected
too
the
biased, so
answer
you can't
with
ask me
Brad.
that, bro. You
He
can't
felt
ask me
it
that. I'm
to
way
his
too biased.
heart. He
Why do
felt
they
it
have the
to
national championship trophy in
that
Colorado?
boy.
Like either of these teams are gonna win it.
That boy
True.
Billy Green.
I
Hey,
wanna
right
What's
I
crazy?
wanna
now,
Colorado
pose
really
hey,
losing.
I wanna
hey,
pose
right
one
now,
last question though.
Colorado looking bad,
Hey,
man.
before we get
So
out of
bad.
here though, because obviously
Talk
we're
to
not
me.
gonna be here till the end of the game most likely. But posing this last
However long we are,
question,
we are.
we all had this conversation. Another
Yeah, this
pick
is my
by
last
Colorado. Love to
conversation
see
this
it.
week.
But we all said that Dion was about to bust these boys by 50, and Colorado State is up 21-14
I was
as it
wrong.
sits. How we feeling, boys?
Oh, for sure, I was wrong.
Okay, I got two feelings.
Because I was wrong.
I got two feelings. I think
Mm.
everybody. Okay, I got three feelings.
Okay.
First feeling is, like
I'm
you
gonna
said,
do it.
we was always wrong. We was always wrong. Okay, everybody thought this was about to be a blowout. My second feeling
It's a
is
blowout.
I think that Colorado's gonna still end up winning. But my third feeling is if Colorado State wins, whoever betted on them to win, oh my god.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like I lose 100 too. That's crazy. I know you right.
Yeah.
Yo, Rob. This man put $100 bet for Colorado State to win. Guess what the payout is?
I put
oh,
on Colorado.
A
it's
whole
about
yeah. He put on Colorado to win, and guess what the payout is? A whole whopping 60 cents, 100 cents.
yeah.
But I
I
was
bet
rocking
you
with
though.
Dion. I
I
had to do
bet
it,
you. I
Rob.
bet you. I bet you though to bet on Colorado State. If you put $100 on that,
It was about $600.
bro,
That
that's what
sounds about right.
I would have put like through 500 on that. I would have threw
Yeah.
But to
500 on
answer your question
Colorado
though,
State.
I will say this: for me, watching this game, by far, it's the most undisciplined and most emotional I've seen Colorado this season.
And you know
Yeah.
why it is though, right?
Well, yeah, because obviously of what old buddy said.
Well, Dion said it. And Dion said something and it's looking like it's contradicting itself right now. He's playing into this guy's hand. He said he
Mhm.
wants us to play with emotion. He wants us to play, it's personal. And when you make things personal, you start to lose discipline. You start to lose who you are. And we talk about this all year long between the Golden State Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies. Who's the better team? It's the Warriors. But you have that conversation of, yo, these guys are in your head, and that's why these games are even close. And
Yeah.
I think Dion actually fell into play the way I would have went about it. It's cool that you gave all the kids fucking Louis Vuitton sunglasses. That's great. But you're feeding into that notion of even entertaining that conversation, of even
Right.
applying that into your weekly prep speeches, and applying that into your meetings, applying that into anything. Yeah, we hear them, but we don't care. Silence the noise by not even addressing the noise. You see me, I've had my own issues with networks and other conversations. Now, I
Same.
address the ones that I want to talk about, but the real personal ones that fuck with me, you don't hear a word from me. And I think that's kind of where Dion did slip, was even addressing this shit. I think definitely made every single play that much more personal and that much more important, and that skips away from your game plan. And I think that can definitely be detrimental. So to the
Yeah.
Colorado State's head coach, I got to give him his flowers, because that's what he, in my personal opinion, by making that statement, that's the only thing he wanted to accomplish. I don't
Yeah.
think he really meant anything personal towards Dion, but what he did worked, and it's working right now at the moment.
And I will say this.
Yeah. Yeah.
If his purpose was to just rile him up, and he didn't really mean any of that, and he just said that to rile him up,
He did a great
I'll
job.
be honest. It worked.
I mean, Pride,
because,
you're
like I
the
said,
UFC guy, bro. I mean, what do UFC guys say about each other's wives and family every single fight? And then
I mean,
after the fight, shaking hands, nothing, no
Yeah.
problem.
and kissing babies, hugging fat girls, like sometimes they be saying wild stuff, like
Never that.
wow,
Fuck
this
need love too.
yeah, bro, like 100%. But like
I'm gonna push you for the push.
yeah, but it's the thing where, like, he said something, and what he said, obviously, it wasn't like over the top disrespectful. It wasn't like he didn't insult his mom or anything like that. He was just like, "Hey, yo, you're doing this wrong," and Dion fell for it. He's playing extremely he's, and like you said, Mike, the thing that's most telling, he's telling the guys, "Yo, play with that motion," and it's like, no, respectfully, you don't want to do that. You
Right.
don't want to do that, because one of the things that everyone, me included, has been extremely impressed with is the fact that they haven't been playing. They've been playing disciplined football. They've been keeping the penalties on a low, except for today. But it's just how they're playing with the energy. And every time they make a play, they're looking at someone and they're like, all right. And it's like, that's what Colorado State wants.
Right. Now,
No?
mind you, we're not saying by any means that, Colorado State got the jump on Dion. We're not saying that. But what we are saying is, if they lose this game and you question, why is this the most undisciplined game that we've seen from them all year, the only thing I can trace back to that is because of what happened
that
earlier
comment.
this week.
That's it. That's the only difference.
Now, if
for
they win,
anything.
no pride. Like I said, if they win, hey, fuck it. We still got work to do, though, because we allowed ourselves to get to that point. What's going to stop the coach next week of a different team to say the same damn thing? Are we just gonna take every game personal now?
Now, I will say this. I think I agree with you all. I agree with you both that especially too if you look at like all of the shows that Dion appeared on to Coach Prime.
Yep.
College Game Day, First Take, Pat McAfee show, like all the shows that he appeared on, he talked about the same subject, and
Mm-hmm.
clearly it bothered him, and he felt that this coach at Colorado State was talking about his mother as well, which I can understand. But to Pride's point, you have to take emotion out of it, especially when it comes to taking care of business. Business can never be personal, even though it's hard to not be personal when persons is conducting business. You get what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, I think that Colorado's gonna be able to overcome this. We see them on a nice little run now.
And it's
Gonna need
crazy
a good
because
fiscal.
there's like
Gonna need,
mad injuries for Colorado State going on all at
yeah,
once. Like, a lot of their defensive guys are going down like crazy.
yeah, they are, they are. I think Colorado's gonna pull it out. But if I'm Oregon right now, which that's the game they play next week,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at film and I'm like, I'm not worried.
Right.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
I think it's a legitimate conversation. I mean, Oregon's decent, but I think it's a legitimate conversation though you have with yourself. That I had a guy, Ben Needich.
When I say I'm not worried, I mean like I'm not scared. Like I feel like we got a chance to go in here and win this. In some teams, you got to be real
Okay.
with yourself. You like, I have no chance of winning this game. You know what I mean? Like they're just that
So in
much
other
better
words,
than us.
I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. In other words, what
Yeah,
you're saying is if you're Oregon, you'll still take them serious, but you're looking at them like there's a chink in the armor, and that's something we can expose.
correct.
Okay, okay, all right, yeah. In that case, then yeah, 100%.
And and, and,
If this
and
ends up being a loss,
you know what that chink is? Their
what's that?
defense.
Well, yeah, 100% their defense too,
Their
but
defense.
yeah, like
Their
yeah.
defense, and we have to limit Shador because to this date, right now in the 3 games we've seen, with the current game going on right now with Colorado, they don't have a run game. They ask Shador to do a lot,
But
and when you
that's
ask your quarterback to do a lot, I don't care if you're in college or the pros, you're asking for trouble.
I will say this though, I don't know if you know, I,
Shador's a running back.
well, obviously, but I will
But
say
I'm
I don't
saying though, that
think.
should not be a good. That's why I fear for the Ravens right now because
Mhm,
J.K. Dobbins just went down. Now you're gonna
mhm.
ask Lamar Jackson to do a lot.
Okay, but
You're
here's what's
gonna
fucked up.
ask him to do a lot.
Here's what's fucked up. The Ravens ain't shit for that because you knew damn well
Mhm.
that this man was going to go down. I hate to say that. I hate to be disrespectful. J.K. Dobbins is made of butter. J.K. Dobbins is made of glass. J.K.
Yeah, for
Dobbins
sure.
has the tenacity and the strength of my left shoelace that I use for hooping. He is not at all durable to even have a preseason. Nonetheless, finish out the fucking regular season. The fact that they rock out with him and Gus Edwards baffles my mind. Year in and year out, we have these problems. And here's the point I wanted to make to Pride. Rob, I talk to you about this guy all the time. Saved my life, got me out with the situations I was in, made me the person I am today. And maybe I'm not perfect, but I'm damn better than I would have been if I didn't have him in my life. Ben Needich, my high school football coach, my mentor in life, and somebody that I look at every single day, that is a leader amongst men. He took me, said, hey, listen, we're playing against your old school rivals. We're playing against the guys who talked down on your dad who passed away. We're looking at guys who gave up on you, did you dirty, ran me through the mud, all types of fuck shit. Players that I've had physical fist fights with, all types of stuff. This is a TED Talk for a whole different day, and I want Pride to be a part of that day. But
Yes, sir.
talking about throwing hands on the ASAP network, this is a whole different story. But
Yes, sir.
with that conversation being said, that man slapped me in my face on the bus. Real innocent, wasn't loud, just a little slap. Little, hey, fuck that. Fuck your beef. Fuck the opinion that you have about your dad and what he said about your dad and all these different aspects to it. Because this is my team. and you will not fuck up what we're trying to do because you have a personal vendetta against somebody else. And I looked at that and I said, that's motherfucking business. That's showtime. That's prime time. That's a conversation of, I have a personal vendetta in this game, but I'm going to be shooting my team in the foot if I go on a side mission in the middle of a third down to go lay somebody out to prove a point or stare down a sideline to get ejected from the game. And that's where I feel like with Prime, bro, I wouldn't have even addressed that shit. When the wide receivers came up to him and Baby Sanders walked up to him, Dad, what's going on? I would have said, ain't shit we ain't been through before.
Mm-hmm.
Because you addressed it, and now it's a problem. Look at Hunter. Hunter got hurt today.
Yep.
Wow.
He got. Yep. Like, well, I mean, I saw that. Like, respectfully, I don't think no matter what happened, I think, listen, respectfully, they're dirty. You know,
100%.
they've been playing. You know what I mean? Like, each team has been doing dirty tactics the entire time. So that kind of, I kind of saw that coming a little bit, right? I knew somebody
But
was
it
going to get
happened
hurt.
because of what escalated throughout this week.
But and that is true.
Hunter,
That is true. That is true. You can't, because and I told you this earlier. Before the game started, things were getting very chippy between both teams. Both teams decided to meet up on the field, and both teams had something to say. So that's where it's like, as much as you don't want to say it,
You got to chill out.
there's a legitimate possibility that doesn't happen if what was said isn't addressed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or if you want to address it, fine. I get it. At least address it after the game. Wait till after the game, so that way you can address it. Be like, all right, look, yeah, we heard what he said. Now is the time to address it. I'm not gonna say much. The reason why we didn't address it is because we didn't want it to affect us. Blase, blase. That being said, I did hear what he said. It is what it is. He already said it. No matter what I say, I can't take it back, etc., etc. Whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like for me, bro, it just really comes down to this very unfortunate situation where, unfortunately, man, like, who knows what's gonna happen? Like, it's not like Buddy or Travis Hunter got taken just to the back. Buddy went to the hospital.
Yep.
Like, this is something that's like super duper scary. Because it's like,
that could be their
that's
season.
what I'm
right
saying.
there.
That's what I'm saying. Because again, he plays both sides.
Because of one personal game.
Yeah.
Now, that player could have did that regardless, and it could have happened. But it's definitely a conversation where, I mean, fuck it. Look it up on Yahoo Sports right now. Yahoo Sports just posted Colorado's Travis Hunter exit game goes to the hospital after dirty hit from Colorado State. That would not have happened if Dion just left it alone.
No, they still would have called it dirty. They still would have called it dirty. Because I watched that play. That's dirty. That's a dirty play right there.
No, but what
It
I'm
was
saying
a
is
dirty
that
play.
player doesn't do that action unless it's personal. That's me. I don't think it happens unless Colorado's talking shit all over.
You know what though? I'm gonna say this. I've been riding with the man and what he's been doing. I'm not gonna go against his tactics. So far, it's been working. Dion has been the same person since day one.
Uh-huh.
Coach Prime has been the same coach since day one. He ain't changed. This is how he used to play football. This is the same guy that threw a bucket of ice on a reporter in the baseball locker room because of how he was talking and his mama told him and he found out about it. Like, oh, he done talked about you like a dog. You know what I mean? Like, this is the same guy. So I'm not gonna go against what Dion has done up until this point to make him successful.
Well, and again,
here's my
and
drawback.
that's just,
Right? Pride of it. Is it cool? Is it cool? I get my drawback right here.
no, go.
Here's my issue. You just mentioned that as Dion the player. Dion, a Hall of Famer, and to Pride's point, one of the greatest players to ever step on the field on both sides of the ball. You have that conversation and you say, Dion can back it up. Now, when you ask a bunch of kids at Colorado to have that same energy, they're not all going to be able to back it up. A lot of them are going to be emotionally drawn and they're going to fuck up. Dion was mentally strong enough to back up those claims with not only his game, but his mental awareness on, okay, when it's time to play, it's time to play. As a leader, you got to understand not everybody can do that. Not everybody is prime time on this team as much as you want them to be. You can give them the sunglasses. You can give them the shades. You can give them the tools and the blueprint to being Deion Sanders. You could have him wearing 21 on his back. That doesn't make him him. And I think at the end of the day, you got to realize that as a coach, to me, he's a player's coach. He's the guy who's going to hype you up. He's the guy who's going to help you get there. He also has a great execution and a great game plan. But the reality is at some point, you got to understand the culture you're creating is toxic habits. You can't go to work in the real world and then make it personal. You're going to get fired. Pride and I can't walk into our business and slap somebody in the face just because we feel some type of way. We can't dump water on somebody and feel some type of way. And that's what I'm trying to say is like, this was a bad look. This looked like this was a teenage decision by them this week. That's truly how I view it. As a 22 or as a 23-year-old, even I looked at that and I was like, "Hey man, I get it. I hear you, but this is the bad message."
And I listen. Let me start off by saying this. I get why you feel that way. I genuinely do because I understand your logic and where you're coming from. Right, like what you're saying is, bro, like, had you turned the other cheek, we're having a different conversation.
Not even that,
You know
but
what I
just
mean?
ignoring it. You know what I mean?
Or yeah, just
acknowledge it.
and I get that, but again, though, let's keep it a Beano here. Rob Loki does have a point.
He does.
Every single approach he's ever taken with these kids, and a lot of these kids he knows. A lot of these kids he basically watched raise, and in terms of the football career, raised them. He would know this is gonna be sloppy, and it is what it is. This is one of those weeks where, you know, it's not gonna be easy. It's gonna be sloppy, unorganized, messy football. Go out there, do what you gotta do. Because let's be honest here, there are weeks where you get the win, but it's ugly. And sometimes it's the weather, but sometimes it's just external factors. And hey, if Deion believes in his guys, go ahead. It's just scary for me though.
But
It really is
here's
scary.
my final point, Rob. I'd love your opinion on this. It's week 2 of college football, right?
Mike, we can't hear you, bro.
You hear me now?
Yes, sir.
My point in that, Rob, I want to hear how you feel about it, where you're at. It's week 2, right? We are in week 2. And mind you, this is not a legit rivalry. No one gives a fuck about Colorado versus Colorado State. Not even Colorado. Like, let's be real. Let's be frank. Like, no one cares. It's like Loyola versus Illinois. No one cares. You both suck. That's what it is. But here's the thing. If you're going to take this and just one comment from a guy you have no personal beef with and turn it into a war zone where Travis Hunter in week 2, because of these actions, because of you feeding into this all week and now dirty play. I mean, I saw dirty hits on both sides of the ball today. I'm not even going to lie.
Oh, 100%. By the way, it's their third game. This is their third game.
It was nothing with, well, I think it's Colorado State's second game, but
yeah.
My bad. My fault on that. But I do think at the end of the day, if you're going to play that game and say, yo, it's week 3 and we're in a war zone right now, it's personal. Dude, we have no prior beef with these guys. We didn't even know their name until this week. We just joined the conference. Like, what's the beef? Like, if we're going to do that every single week, anytime, to Rob Scott's point, DJ, whatever the fuck, Ukulele is coming into town next week with Oregon. What's to say Oregon doesn't make it personal? Are you just going to go out there and make it a bloodbath? It's a long season, bro. And Travis Hunter's in the hospital right now because of this same shit. You have to lock that down as a man and look at your team and say, our goal is the end of the season. We're not going to treat this like the national fucking championship. And that's how they treated this game. That's the fucked up part. It's week 3. That's just how I feel.
Hey, I'm just gonna say this though. Like I said though, I get that aspect of it, but then you get the other aspect of it. What if Colorado comes in here and they dominate because of what Coach Prime says? Then it's a different story. So he's been taking the same approach. He hasn't changed his approach. And
100%.
even with him taking that thing personal, this is because somebody else said. He didn't
Right.
come out talking shit against the other coach.
A little
You
bit.
know what I mean?
He didn't
That's
say it
what
to
I'm
the media.
saying.
He didn't say it to the media, but if you saw the video, he bought everybody in that bitch sunglasses and
No,
told them
no, no, right.
mind your
No,
shit.
I'm talking about before that coach said what he said,
Oh, right.
there was no shots fired.
Right.
The
And that's
coach
the
of
thing, though.
Colorado State fired the first shots. And Dion simply responded. Now he responded in the Dion way, but he responded. Now right now he's paying for it because it looked like Colorado State just scored again. So you know what I mean? I mean he's paying for it right now. And unfortunately there's consequences with your actions where the other team took it personal. And you had this big spectacle and right now you gotta eat shit. That's
Yeah.
just part of life. But do I think right now, am I going to be one of those people that just immediately turn away from Colorado and say what Dion did was wrong? No. I think what Dion has done has gotten him to this point. It's gotten him from an HBCU, which is not a bad thing, to a what you guys call them, a Pro 5 or whatever you call them, college. Like now he's playing in the real NCAA and he's playing in a real conference where he can earn a national championship. Is he gonna earn it this year? We don't know. But what I know is we're talking about a guy who started from the high school rankings, who moved up to HBCU, dominated out there, came in, and in his first two games, he's changed the whole entire outlook of Colorado. Right now, in his first two games, he's won more games than they won last season.
No, 100%,
Mm-hmm.
bro. And I'm
That's all I'm saying, bro. I'm not
I
gonna
hear
just sit
that.
here and pounce on Coach Prime.
Nah, 100%. And again, like that's the point I'm making with Pride is like I don't disagree that as Deion Sanders, this is the correct response. But when you're coaching a team of different personalities, and you could say you know these kids, you could say you don't. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, you need to understand that these are kids. You know what I mean? Like the response that we saw from Colorado State tonight is exactly why Travis Hunter's in the hospital today. And it's like that was something as a coach for Dion, you got to understand week 3 of the season, it's all good and God when you win this game and you talk mad shit and you wore sunglasses after the game and you were talking crazy. But say they lose this game and Travis Hunter's out the rest of the season. A meaningless week 3 game that you could have just brushed. I mean, come on, bro. Like Rob, I know you better than anybody. Dion's primetime Sanders, bro. I talked about this with Pride before you hopped on. If Nick Saban got called out by the coach of Illinois State, you think Nick Saban gives a fuck? Like that, if Bill Belichick got called out by the head coach of the Chicago Bears, you think he gives a fuck? Like you can't even
But
walk on the.
but the thing
I
is,
no, I get that, but at the same time, that's Prime's. They not Prime.
right, and
Prime
not only
being
that, but
Prime is what got him to the dance, and that's what these kids respond to.
and
These
not only
kids
that,
they don't respond to the Nick Sabans or
Right,
the
but
Bill
you
Belichick.
gotta be in the best interest of the kids as a head coach and not put them in this kind of position.
No, you do. I agree with that. And
but
go ahead, Prime.
oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was about to say you got to look at both sides of the spectrum.
Fucking Buffalo,
Mike
Yeah,
Hughes,
man.
Mike Hughes, what you saying is all facts. Like as a
hmm
coach, you have to understand when to take something personal and when to just let some shit roll over your back.
And to
And
be
excuse my
disrespected,
language, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. It's
okay,
just
it
late
used to be a lot worse
and,
earlier when we
Watch
talked
your
about
and we
this.
feel it.
profanity.
But you know what I mean. But at the same time, though, again, to my point, I'm not gonna stop Prime for being Prime.
100%. But again, here's my thing. This is my last point I'll make on it because I really don't care either way. Like I'm not against it, but I'm not for it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go out here and write an article about primetime sabotaging the team. That's not how I feel about it. I feel like he went about it in a way that honestly I probably would have went about it the same way. But if I'm at that status, now you got to the dance. Now make something of it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, bro, I'm not gonna Rob, you tell me this all the time. I had an issue with a certain network that let me go. We had these conversations, woo, 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 right? And I said, man, I took that shit personal. I'm finna get my lick back. Pride, I told you the same thing. I said, I'm trying
Mhm.
to get my lick back. I'm trying to make a post. I'm trying to tell everybody the truth. Rob called me. Rob said, bro, don't even address that shit. Keep playing your game and the rest will speak for it. If you address it, bad things gonna happen. You know what I mean? And to me, when you're at that point, when you allow yourself to be driven by emotion, it gets personal. And that's okay. But when you have a goal in mind, which to Dion, and we all know Dion's goal in mind is a national championship. That's my point in saying we can't just let anything anybody says become personal. Because if we let that, then man, every single week's gonna become personal. Everybody to Pride's point earlier. What's to stop Oregon from saying something next week, making it personal again? Let's make fun of Dion's clothes this time. Let's make fun of his shoes. Let's make fun of his 3 toes. Like let's make it personal. Like we could say anything. We talk about his mama, talk about his dad, talk about whatever. If you do that and you allow this team to be infiltrated by those outside noises, they're going to collapse. It's like a house of cards. If you just throw something in the middle, the whole deck's gonna fall. And that's something for me to where I'm like, Dion, I understand what got you here. I understand how you've gotten to this point. But as a coach in the NCAA, it's much bigger than a beef right now. It's much bigger than that ego and what's gotten you here. You're a whole different person now. You have to become more than you. You are the organization. You are the university. And that's something that I think he's still learning, of course. It's still his first year in the NCAA. It's still his first time really doing this shit for real, outside of last year. And it's like, I need to see that step from him where I was like, man, Dion, bro, I wouldn't even have paid that shit. No mind. Shannon Sharp. Look at Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. Skip want to talk all this shit. Skip want to talk all this mess. Shannon ain't said a damn thing. Shannon, because Shannon knows. Shannon knows better. Shannon's not going to, he even said personally, I'm not going to disrespect anybody because it just makes me look bad. 100%. Now, if it's some personal shit, and Pride and I know it, there's a fine line. There is a fine line to what's personal and what's not. My man said, don't wear sunglasses and don't wear a hat because my mama taught me better. Bro, I didn't even know your name until that interview. Like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know you. Who cares? Like, who is this guy? And now I'm watching them fight on the sideline right now. And it's like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? We're getting away from the game plan. We're getting away from ourselves and who we've been all season long. And to Pride's point, they do not look disciplined. They do not look like themselves. They look like a shell of themselves. And there is no other reason than that to explain that about.
It's unfortunate. It really is. Well, it's unfortunate for Colorado because obviously, Colorado State wanted,
Right. And mind you, Pride,
like this.
fuck Colorado State. I hope Colorado comes out and wins this game. I'm not anti-Dion whatsoever.
No, but again, you are bringing up the legitimate part of this conversation where, at the bare minimum, had Dion not said nothing, he could, at the bare minimum, literally say, "Hey, I didn't encourage this.
Right.
I didn't push him.
You
I
could
didn't
just
do
say they're the
anything."
better team and move on.
And on top of that too, all the dirtiness that's happening, Dion can make sure he steps up there with a straight face and go, you know what? We did our part. Yes, they were running their mouths, but guess what? We came to play, and that's it. We're not. We didn't here to do any extracurricular stuff. That's them. And if that's how they want to play, that's how they want to play. He could have. But again, to Rob's point, he's been doing this for a while, and Coach Prime knows his kids, and he knows they can handle this. You know what I mean?
And I think today they showed they couldn't, though. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
No,
No, you're right. Honestly, win or
you
lose,
rocking with 18 and 21-year-olds, Pride. Who were me and you at 18 and 21? We were one day we're God's child, the next day menace to society.
What? Man, no, you got it. You're right. You got it.
I was always a menace.
100%. 110%. I'm there with you. But that's kind of the other token of this, where, like I said,
you can't trust kids, bro. That's just what it is.
No, you really can't. It sucks to say that, but you really can't.
Especially in this atmosphere. It's a mob mentality right now, bro. I'm watching dirty hit after dirty hit. Even Sanders' kid is fucking out here just trucking people. He's gonna get like I've never seen that version of him. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I mean, it's just like, man, bro. third season of the game. Fuck that.
Right. And like I said, I understand, right? And my thing would be with Prime had I listen. What do I wish he handled it a little differently? Sure. But the reality of the situation is also, let's also not act like A, he started it,
Oh, 100%.
and B, did he instigate it? Yeah, he instigated it some.
A little bit.
But I don't think he instigated it to a point where Colorado State is playing the way they're playing. Like, some of these dirty plays that I'm seeing, this isn't chippiness. This is a coach telling them,
hey,
go hurt somebody.
They playing.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at Colorado State. I'm not mad that they took it personal. Hey, who the hell they think they are? I'm not mad at that either. That's what makes sports, man.
Mm-hmm. I'm just more mad at the fact that everyone thinks they want to injure everyone else. That's honestly the only issue I have with this.
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I used to be that guy.
Same.
I used to just lay dudes out.
Same.
Coach
When I
would be like, "Hey, yo, 1-7, lay him out." I'd be like, "All right, about to get another concussion, but this kid's never gonna walk straight again."
Fact. Nah, like for me, when I played soccer, like I had two different head coaches who had the same mentality, and there was a sign they would give me, and he would give me the sign, and he would basically like signal me their number, and then give me a sign. And that bet, it doesn't matter if they score or not, I'm gonna go for their legs. And I broke a kid's leg like in half, and I heard it snap, and I laughed. Yeah, I laughed. I don't give a shit. I didn't like him either. I didn't like him. He kept pushing people, and I'm like, yo, get the fuck up your Irish. He told me to shut the fuck up, but he like I guess he was like Salvadorian, so there was an accent. So I said, what? Because I didn't know what he said. And then he was like, oh, we got a problem? I said, oh, you finna have a problem by the time I'm done with you. Come up here, little homie. I said, come holler at your boy one time. I said, come holler at your boy one time. Ended his career. Didn't give a shit either. It was a senior year, too. He was crying and everything. I said, LOL.
Bro.
God, I said, LOL.
But all right, boys, we wrapping this up. We going out 4 hours. Look at us go. Tony was here for all but 15 minutes. That's crazy.
Look at this, bro. I'm glad I got to join.
Rob, I appreciate you hopping on, brother, man.
Oh, God, bro. Always, Rob. If you see us on, let us know. We'll get you in there.
Hey. And I'm going to need y'all, too, on Rob's 2 cents.
Man, you know it.
You let me know when.
Kobe Bryant here for a segment.
Hey, I got StreamYard now, so I can invite y'all.
Yes, sir.
But make sure you pay someone $300 a month to spit fireballs in your chat whenever he feels like it.
Don't listen to him.
Dun dun dun.
Mike, you got any final words before we get up out of here?
Dylan, you're a thief.
Oh Lord Jesus.
Okay. Moving right on. Robert got me stuttering. Rob, what you got me stuttering.
I was just happy to come up here and talk sports with you fellas, man.
Yes, sir. Well, it's been Pride. We'll be back here whenever, probably next Saturday, but whenever something happens.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
And with that, that's our end. It's been real. We'll catch you on the next time, y'all. Be safe.
Let ride.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.